You are now entering Maximum Driftcast, the only drifting podcast hosted by a Spanish soccer mom, a 30-year-old silver-haired fox going on 60, and finally, a 200-pound bowl of spaghetti with chimichanga arms.
The champions, we are the champions.
Hey, Sam, you there?
Yeah,
Hey,
hi Corey, what's up, man?
Oh, hey, Sam. Hey, we're gonna try to do this again. We're gonna try to get another show out of the way.
Are we gonna do just let's just get it done? You know, that's what I always say about podcasts. You know.
Yeah, no, you're kind of the Tim Allen of the podcast world. You know, just
Would that make you the Rosie O'Donnell of the podcast world?
more of a Whoopi Goldberg or a Bill Goldberg.
Whoopsie Goldberg.
Whoops, yeah.
Does she do the Stone Cold Stunner?
Probably. I'm not too familiar with Whoopsie Goldberg's finishing moves, but I can imagine it'd be pretty good.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Well,
Paco,
hold on,
let's say hi to Paco real quick, because Paco's in the middle of writing on Instagram. So.
No, I was playing Tinder.
Oh God, you're so
Okay.
close.
Yeah.
Are you always swiping right or what's
Swiping
your deal?
right for mommy, so you know it.
Okay. All right.
So this
cool.
is what
Well,
happens when we don't do anything related to drifting in probably 4 months. You know, we just since we haven't been
don't know
doing
what to
much.
talk about.
Yeah, we haven't been doing much in the drifting community, so we just we're kind of getting used to the studio again. This just doesn't feel like my seat anymore, Sam. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I haven't been on the show because last week we took it off for Memorial Day because we're all spread across the continent, and then the week before that it was just you guys and the Judge Boys and Farouk, and so I haven't been on the show in 3 weeks. I feel like I've lost the touch. You know, I used to be so good at this, and now I just
Yeah, you
know?
still suck at it. So
Well, you did pretty good at the halftime show, which
Thank you.
I think
that was
we can easily say that was probably our best halftime show.
it was easily our best. I feel like, in all seriousness, like we talked about in the past, on our podcast, we'll put that at 10. We go to 10. You know, I talk about fucking pigeons and what have you, small animals, you name it. And then the halftime show, we don't want to talk about that. You know, we want to keep it chill, but we want to have fun. And the first few halftime shows, I think we're more like Jared and Ryan. We're being very serious. And I think this last show, we were like a 5. We had a nice 5. I talked about people wanting to do belly shots off Corey for Corey's birthday.
Yep.
Talked about Formula Drift being 100 years old and 1918, little baby Kangushi going against baby Chris Forsberg. And then we also talked about baby Dean Kearney. He was, the prettiest baby of them all.
yeah,
It's like one of those tall Irish babies.
yeah. They're actually trying to. I heard when he was born, they tried pushing him back in because they didn't think he was done yet.
I heard that he invented the cartwheel.
Yeah, Dean the cartwheel Kearney.
Dean Cartwheelnage Kearney.
That was a good one, Sam. That was actually really good.
Thank you. Anyways, Dean, what's up, man?
It's funny because he's not listening. Oh,
How are you guys?
Oh fuck!
Hey.
You didn't even think you were here. Hopefully, you didn't hear our cartwheel joke.
No.
Okay, good.
good stuff.
So Dean is currently on his bang bus. Yeah, if
Yeah.
you're watching the video portion, you've probably seen this set from a lot of different videos. So Dean,
Yeah.
as you guys probably do know, when he's not drifting Forrest Wang's car into the wall, he is actually going around and giving girls money to get into his van.
Yep.
Right.
Just some wild accusations to make.
So Dean is actually joining us from a rest stop in Texas. He's driving back from New Jersey. Are you all alone?
I'm here, yeah.
What are you wearing?
What am I wearing?
Oh, it's a Team Karne Asada T-shirt.
Karne Asada.
Dean Karne Asada. All right, we got an episode title. That's good. Man, we're just knocking this right out. Dean, what's up, dog? How was your Formula Drift New Jersey?
I Formula Drift New Jersey was definitely eventful. Didn't quite go how we planned for it to go when we took the car out of the trailer, obviously. But all things considered, in a bad situation, I think we made the best of what we had, and left there with a thought of, man, I'd love an S chassis.
Yeah, so your Viper was out of action. We'll get to your Viper woes in a minute, but yeah, you mentioned the S chassis, and right after right after you got knocked out, I talked to you about it a little bit in the stands there, and you were saying how S chassis are cheater cars essentially compared to like everything else you've driven. What was your experience driving Forrest's demo car?
Yeah, they're not a cheater car as such. They're just a very advanced car, I suppose, in the sport now. Like they have like probably 20 years of development in the chassis, and all the smartest drift guys in the world have all been developing suspension and shocks and everything for them forever now. So they just have a lot of technology. But my last experience driving an S chassis was 5 years ago now, and I would have said up until Friday morning when I drove Forrest's car, I would have thought S chassis, in my opinion, had reached their potential as a chassis. But when I drove that car, I was like, holy shit, there's another dynamic altogether with these cars.
And that's not even like a current car. You were saying how it's an underpowered 8-year-old. You know, it's still built by Get Nuts. You know, like there's a specific attention to detail, and you know it's probably one of the best set up S chassis in the world. But it's still old and outdated, right?
Yeah, like Forrest probably built that car 7 years ago, and then he ran it for 3 years as a competition car, before he built a 15 or whatever. And I'd say it's still a very good car, but it just probably doesn't have the same level of maintenance and care actually spent on it that the 15 has. Like it's kind of like his demo car, backup car, so it's gonna get like second class attention all the time, you know. But it's still definitely a good car. Suspension wise, the Wise Fab was my first time ever driving on it, so it took a bit of getting used to. And I spoke with James and Peter about setting a Backerman and lock stops on it and stuff. So they gave me some pointers in the right direction there with that. But the car had power steering problems, like from the time I sat in the car, and we couldn't really figure it out over the course of the weekend. I don't think we had a lot of spare parts, and they were just kind of like driving around the issue for the last 2 years. So that's just the way it was, and it was like, that's what you're going to have to make do with. But I feel we made the best of a bad situation, and I'm obviously very thankful to Forrest for letting me borrow the car.
Yeah, so how did that go down? You know, again, we'll talk about the Vipers in a second. So, you know, your car is broken. Did you walk up to Forrest and be like, hey, you got a car with you? Or did he offer to you? Like, how did that all go down?
Or do you went?
Yeah, we broke the Viper in the first lap of practice on Thursday morning, which was like everybody's biggest nightmare, especially when we're on our fourth engine in the car this season with the third motor. So we didn't have a backup with us because we're not planning on having a backup until we get back on the West Coast. So the motor seized up on staging before the burnout box after the first lap, and it was locked solid. We put the Harlock into gear, we tried to rock it forward and back, and it wouldn't budge at all. So it was completely seized, and I thought that was basically our weekend over and done with, and went back in the trailer and kind of had a talk amongst the team or whatever and what we were going to do. And Ryan said to me, why don't we ask Wang if we can borrow his car? And I kind of wasn't really interested. I was like, no, look, we're here with our program or whatever, and if we're able to try actually make the Viper work, let's do it. But we had a look around the motor, and we decided like it was best off if we didn't actually open it up, if we just drop it back like at the engine builders the way it was. So myself and Brian walked over to Forrest, and I'd say he knew by the way I walked into his pit space what I was going to ask him about. And he goes, yo, are you in trouble? And I was like, yeah. And it was like, the S14 is there with the head gasket's gone, even before I asked him. And he said, I don't know if it's gone. He said, but we were definitely experiencing some high temperature issues at the IR the week before. So we said, look, we will try and make it work. We borrowed it off him. I drove it for 2 laps on Thursday, and the thing was overheating like crazy. But we found out the water system was plumbed up a little bit kind of questionable. I wouldn't say wrong, but questionable to if it was exactly the best way for it to be, to not hold big air pockets in it. So we changed it around a bit and drove a Friday morning practice for one lap, and the thing was like coming off the end of the bank. It was like, so we decided to park it and just do our 2 passive qualifying with the car, and then take off the head that night and see what we could resolve.
Yeah, I see. There's on your Instagram. There's photos of some guy cleaning out the head. I imagine. What night was that you took this motor in?
Hello,
Hey,
hello, I
can you hear me?
lost you. Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah,
Are the boys there still?
Yep.
no, the boy.
All right,
Okay.
cool.
Go and repeat
Sorry,
your
bad
question,
connection.
Sam.
No, I said on your Instagram there's a photo of a gentleman working on the head of what looks like a 2J. What night was that? You disassembled the motor, what, Thursday night, Friday night?
So Friday we done the first lap of practice and it was smoking itself. So we decided, look, let's just put the car in the show. So I went out for my first run and qualifying. The car was missing and banging or whatever because it was getting water. But we got a 76 and we came back in. And Brian and Alex decided that there's probably enough time to pull out the cams and retorque the head to see if we're able to make it any better.
Mhm.
So we done that. Retorqued the head. Literally just got it finished before our lap of qualifying. Got back out, and it was a little bit better, but marginal. Like not going to last all day Saturday. So we scored like an 82 or something like that with the second run of qualifying. Came back in and made a plan to pull off the head and try locate a machine shop. Brian got on the phone with a couple of guys around local that he knows, and he found a shop called Headworks, who they brought the motor to on Friday night at around 11:30 p.m. And Dave came in and opened up the shop and decked the head for us and got us back to the track at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and the boys stayed there all night to reassemble it.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible that all worked out. So, first of all, very awesome that Forrest and the Kid Nuts team would even loan you a car, but crazy that you then have to pull apart the motor and make it run. What sort of gentleman's agreement is decided upon when you loan someone a very priceless drift car? Like, do you shake hands and say, like, I'll fix whatever I break, or how does that go down?
Yeah, I think it's kind of different when drivers are, I don't know, like at a pro level, like, I know they're not going to go out there purposely to tear up his car. So we took hands on a deal or whatever that two of us were happy with. And yeah, there was no kind of like, well, if you damage this, you have to pay for this, or if you break the motor, it's this. He was just like, go out there, drive the wheels off and put on a show, and let's talk about it afterwards. Like, I'm not going to rape you. So I was like, yeah. So it was cool.
That's awesome. Guys,
I gotta say, like, the very first battle I saw you jump, because I remember even Jared saying, like, all right, here's the first battle. Dean Kearney jumping on an S15. He has a little bit of an S14, a little bit of practice on it. Let's see, he's probably gonna be a little conservative. And you guys go, and like the first thing is you just run on Forrest's door. Like, you know, all out. Like, it's like, this is my car. I'm just gonna beat it as hard as I can, which I think it was awesome. I mean, it was like, you know, like at some point we really thought it was gonna be like, well, you know, I'm gonna drive conservative, trying to, you know, not damage the car. And nope, it was a great battle actually.
Yeah, I don't think any pro driver is going to drive anyone's car conservatively. But actually, like, I know when you think about it, like, it comes down to, we've only got like 8 events every year, like, and you have to make the most of every one of them. And Forrest Wang is like a serious driver. Like, I would consider him driver ability in the top 5 or 6 in the series. Like, I think he's an amazingly talented guy. And the only way you're going to beat Wang is if you're driving 110%, beat your Wang. And especially, like, I was showing up in his car that's definitely a little outdated compared to his. It's probably 300 horsepower less. We were, like, very loose on the setup, like, and didn't have a lot of grip in it. His car was tightened up, so I knew that I had to drive it hard, and that was going to be the only way to have a fighting chance with him.
Yeah. And the battles, watching them again, and I was just saying before the show, it's pretty cool that Form the Drift YouTube actually right now has all the battles separated, and you can just click on the battles, so it's pretty easy to watch this weekend's competition. But yeah, I was just rewatching them before we started talking, and your chase run was definitely respectable. He definitely got away from you a little bit, but your lead run, you were throwing in the gangster wall ride, and you just tapped for just a little, like an inch too far, and enough to bounce you off the wall.
Looking for 3 inches, the story of my life. But
yeah, always looking for that extra 3 inches.
It was the first time I had ever drove the car 2 laps back to back, and we ran like crazy high tire pressures because the car has like ridiculous amount of lag. It doesn't even make any boost like until after 4 grand or whatever, which I'm not used to. Like after getting out of Viper, like it's like arc from idle basically. So it was the first time I drove it 2 laps back to back, and I had to keep it with like really high wheel speed. So after the first chase lap with Wang, I had like pretty hot tires, and they were already high tire pressures into the 40s almost. Coming back on the start line, and I pitched it in on my lead run, and it just was riding up the bank. Like it was just climbing higher and higher and higher. And I had known from about 2/3 of the way around I was going to touch it like on the exit. Like I just knew it was happening. So I was trying to be as gentle as I could and to take out as much angle as I could before I got there. But yeah, it just barely caught the wall at the end and just kind of upset the car. So
yeah. But otherwise, a very good show. And before we talk about Viper stuff, do you guys have more questions about driving the Wang mobile? The Wang mobile, is that what we call it?
So when you beat the Wang.
Well, he didn't beat the Wang. He tried to beat the Wang. He just kind of, he got inside Wang.
So it's more like
Wang's,
when the Wang beat you.
Yeah. So the Wang, you either beat the Wang or the Wang beats you. That's what I've always said.
No, I mean like so I guess like you just like went back to the pits and like, all right, well, here's your car, thank you, that was cool.
Not really. I was kind of disappointed in myself because.
Oh, dude, you did fucking great, man. Like seriously.
No, it's the one thing as a pro driver, whatever. You should never throw away your lead run. Like it's the one thing I think is sacrilege. Like you cannot throw it away. You have no excuses. You have nobody in front of you. So I was upset at myself over tagging the wall or whatever. Because I feel if we didn't maybe make that mistake, we probably would have got like one more time out of it. And,
yeah.
I was after driving the car a little bit more that time in anger. I think I could have taken a little bit more grip in it. We might have been able to actually have a proper fight, like if we got it one more time,
Yeah.
Yeah, I could totally see that. But at the same time, I mean,
you were heavily disadvantaged in the setup there. So.
Yeah, not to mention, I mean, that you didn't have that many laps in this car. That's kind of foreign, Like I'm sure the type of engine responsiveness is very different from what you're used to with the Viper.
We had three laps in the car before qualifying. Then we had 2 laps in the car before qualifying. The 2 qualifying laps.
Yeah, so with those things considered, I think that's pretty badass.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Not to mention like the content that came out from that battle, like those photos with the 2 cars, they're super bitchin'.
Yeah, they definitely look sick. They definitely look really good together.
So how does this kind of sway you in the future? I don't know what type of relationship you have with Dodge, but does this open up options for you after experiencing this, or does this kind of put you in a position where it's like, man, maybe I'm in something that I'm not saying you're fighting with the Viper at all. Obviously, it's been giving you headaches this year, but does it kind of see how your other old teammates are doing, and a lot of these guys with the S15s being super successful, and you're still this guy here developing this chassis, which is the only one in the world pretty much. Does it ever kind of make you say, man, I probably have a little bit easier things on my plate if I decide to go with something that's already developed and focus on driving?
Absolutely, 100%. And I've said it for the last 7 years of FD. that I definitely have given myself an uphill battle like with the Viper. The thing is, I feel like with the new chassis, we've figured out like all the suspension and stuff. It's really good, and I feel actually with the old chassis, we have the motor on point. So if we combine the two of them, I think it should be a very competitive car. I still think it needs to lose about 150 pounds to be really, really at the sharp end of the grid.
Just like
But
Forrest.
Yeah, I can start with the driver.
well, the driver lost 34
Jeez,
pounds this year, so it was okay.
that's
It's a
good then.
start. But I feel there's certain tracks that it hides its weight, that it's not a problem. Like, it's normally good in Texas, it's normally good in Irwindale, it's normally good in Seattle, and Jersey's actually probably, I would consider the car's best track normally, you know. But if you're asking me, would I consider driving an S chassis? Yes, it's always been something that's been 100% on my plate. Like, and any time there's ever been any issues with the Vipers, like, I'm done with this. I'm definitely driving an S chassis next year. But
Well,
I don't know. There's definitely a lot of
I have an idea for
moving
you.
parts.
What do you got?
What about a 2JZ powered Viper?
Or what about a Viper powered S chassis?
Ooh.
Well, I've seen people doing like I've seen a few.
Well, then it wouldn't run.
I've seen a few cars. Actually, even here in Arizona, there's a guy that's putting a V10 on the 240,
well,
but it seems like he's just
it's
way
beyond
too
that.
way
It-
too
it's beyond
front
that.
heavy.
So when I was at the shop with you guys last year before Seattle, I sat in your Viper, and honestly, it was one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever sat in. And the only reason is it's the visibility. Your visibility is so small sitting in that car.
I agree with you, right? But we're speaking about a drift car, and I do agree visibility is important in some aspects. But
And the hood is 12 feet long. Like, you can't see the front of the car.
But that's all. That's all. That's definitely a problem when you drive the car for the first time, because you don't know where anything is and you feel like it's completely odd.
And didn't you
But
let
after you drive it,
Daigo drive the car?
Daigo and Robbie drove it.
And what'd they say about it?
It was definitely quite entertaining. to watch.
Konnichiwa.
So I'd respect.
What did Daigo say about driving the Viper?
Told me I'm absolutely crazy.
yeah.
That we know.
Okay, so I want to know what keeps you in the Viper then.
I like the aspect of it being different. I think the car has a lot of good factors as much as it has bad factors. Like, we've had 5 years and we've never had a issue ever with the motor. Never one thing. Couple of head gaskets and that, but never actually, like, the core motor never gave trouble. I think it's very marketable. It's different. It definitely attracts a lot of attention in the pits. It makes loads of mechanical grip. And I like the way that. So yeah, it's always been a bit of a challenge, and I kind of had this stigma like against S chassis almost, because there were so many of them. Like, every drift series in the world, you turn it on, and the top 4 cars were S chassis, and I was just kind of tired of it and over it, you know. But definitely comes to a stage where you're like, okay, do I want to be different? Like, I'm be like, I know, like a Mad Mike and just have like pull cars and be competitive like a couple of times a year and really shred, but like always be there to put on the show? Or do you want to focus more like on the James Dean route, like and
Right.
be there like every weekend, like, and have a chance of winning, you know?
Yeah.
But also, too, we've discussed this many times on the show, is the evolution of the sport and the professionalism of the sport, and using, you know, if you're using an S13, not that you would, but that's now almost a 30-year-old car, or it is a 30-year-old car. And it's like, you know, S14s and S15s, granted, are still newer, but it's still not a current car. Like, you can't go out and buy one. So as far as looking professional and the sport looking modern and maybe attracting new and current factory, you know, money potentially, driving a newer, more unique, buyable car is definitely something that is important for the sport, we think, or at least I think.
It is. I agree. I do agree. It's important for the sport, but there's a lot of things that you look at Papadakis and Osbo, and it's like those
Who?
guys, Papadakis, Papa Daddy, Mama Kisses.
Mom Daddy Kisses.
Thank you.
And Osbo, and it's like those guys are such a unique breed that they can take a Corolla, its debut year, and put it in the top 2 positions, and win events with it. And they did have very similar chassis to build off of. Obviously, they were saying the TC and IM were all kind of close together in some degree. But
are you trying to say that Dean should get like a PT Cruiser?
Yeah.
Yep.
Or a Dart?
Current. You can go out and buy one right now.
No, but what they're doing is they have kind of already 3 years of development leading into that, and it's with this Viper. It's you and Samuel Hubinette, and it's just been, I can't even tell you how many years.
I mean, the chassis seems very well built. I mean, like developed. It just seems like I'm not saying the V10 is a bad power plant. It just seems like it's a costly power plant. But
Yeah, you're definitely right, and we're running a car that's too expensive for our budget. Like, if I'm really honest with myself,
Yeah, absolutely.
Which we shouldn't be doing. We should actually be like, I don't know, like out there in some form of an S chassis and being a bit more clever with how we're spending our budget. But kind of got tied up in the Viper end of things, and we ended up with so many like spares and chassis and motors and stuff that it's kind of hard to step away from a program that you are for investing like the last 7 years of your life in and just actually shelve it. Like, when you've actually built it from the ground up from nothing, like from starting off like with a $20,000 sponsorship, like up into actually building it like into a program and into a car that we had on the podium 4 or 5 times,
Yeah, and you've obviously shown that you can do well in it. When was that you? I forget. Did you just podium or did you actually won Seattle 2 years ago, 1 year ago?
Oh, we never finished better than second place in Formula D.
Okay.
Actually, it's something that drives me crazy, to be honest. But the last time we had it on the podium was Atlanta 2017 with James.
Yeah.
which
So
I mean,
you-
that proves you're capable.
Oh,
The car is
100% is capable.
Like,
But what is it? Is it him that's not allowing him to go to that first spot, or is it the car that's preventing?
Yeah,
I-
it makes me
you-
wonder if you had
A
Forrest
different
Wang's
tool,
actual S15, or if you had like one of Peter or Dean's S15s, like would you
Yeah, 'cause
be
I would-
at the same competitive level as Dean and
I would say
And-
Dean Kearney on an S chassis. Like, just give him more time, more practice. It will be
Well, let's see what he says.
yeah.
Like, I don't think I would need any more practice per se.
Per se.
Well, it's like
25 guys like in.
Sorry, like
that's
that.
that truck stop Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
No, but what he
Sorry, say that again, Dean.
Can you say it again?
truck
You
stop
you
Wi-Fi
broke
cut
out. You broke a little bit.
I said, I think any of the top kind of 20, 25 guys in FD could show up at any track at any event, any day, like, and win in any car,
Yeah.
So I feel the driving end of things has gone very on par now. It just comes down to like teams and programs and running them properly.
Yeah. I was talking with the RS dudes at the office earlier today, and they were saying something about like, oh, everyone should drive an S chassis, and it's like, yeah, that's been a constant conversation on the show. It's like we want to see an S chassis spec series. So whether it's like S13s, so it's cheap for everyone, maybe like you run it on Sunday or Thursday or whatever, but like every driver comes out with an S13 with a differential, a handbrake, some coilovers, and a stock K, and like that's it. Like we
That'd be
want to
fun.
see. Well, like
That'd be
I wonder how the pack would even out, and you see these guys that have complicated cars, maybe rise to the top because you really then would get to see how many people are fighting an underdeveloped or just a difficult chassis versus actual driver skill.
Yeah, I think it would be definitely fun. Like, I would love to have a full season in FD and maybe James's car, Peter's car, or a car of that level, like,
Yeah, so I'm
Just
sure
to
that
see.
there's stories behind stories and complications, but Peter and Dean have a third car. Why didn't you drive that car?
It's just that's kind of their spare as such, and just kind of wasn't exactly an option at that particular time,
Selfish assholes.
yeah.
No, it wasn't. I didn't even ask him. There was nothing asked, or there was no one said no, or nothing that
Yeah.
could not happen. I actually spoke to Wang almost first because I was walking over that way and I walked into his pits to see what the option was. We had originally talked about driving Jeff's Stoneback's car, and we were trying to get a couple of options around us first before we made a decision about what we were going to do. And when I spoke with Wang, he was like, "Yeah, man, like let's just do it." Like, and I got in the car and I actually fit it. Like, we didn't have to move the seat around. I could actually go straight out and drive it. So
Yeah,
We have
because Peter and Dean are human centipedes. Is that what you call it when they're tall?
when you're really tall.
Yeah, we have Garrett from Get Nuts on Facebook. He's like insisting that he'll like to see Dean Nuts 2019.
Dean nuts. I like
Yeah.
that.
So I
Dean's
want
nuts. He
Dean's
wants to see my
Dean's nuts.
Yep. He says I want to
Yep.
see the damage he can do in our car without the nonsense, some seat time, and maybe some hydraulic system, something like that.
What about carnage nuts or nuts?
Car
nut
nuts.
Carnage? Car nuts. Yep, that could work.
Dean Carnuts. Ooh.
I think if they tore down that nonsense, or Dina, they just give it like a basic refresh, hydraulic power steering, definitely needs nitrous down low, and a bigger turbo. It would be a really, really sharp car in that from the.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to ask you, since you kind of brought it up, you were mentioning the budget based on the type of car that you're driving. And, we have the headlight over here that you gave us that you ended up crashing or rubbing
Taillight.
off in Texas. It's right above Paco, right over there. We don't know what type of support you get through Dodge and things like that, but I can't imagine if you were to have to pick up a taillight for your car, what does something like that run?
So a taillight for the back of our car is like $980.
$980 for one.
Yeah. Just
Oh
for
my
one.
god.
900.
$980.
$80, yeah. And that's even if you can find them because they're super hard to find.
Oh god.
And so,
There's no Chinese replicas for
Yeah.
Viper.
Definitely not, no.
Yeah, you
So-
can't just go and buy some like eBay headlights. You can for an S14.
Unfortunately,
so
not.
I'm trying to come up with the question, and I think I
Which
can
one?
say, hold on real quick. If you were running an S chassis, do you think you can get through competing at the same level you are by spending a quarter or half your budget in an S chassis?
I wouldn't say quarter or half because I don't think that's fair to say anymore.
Right.
But
Or
I
would the
would say-
resources just go that much further as far as obviously you wouldn't be spending $980 on a headlight. You can probably find a supplier to help you with those things. But
yeah, of course.
so what
That's
would be the
That's the thing.
advantage budget wise?
I think if you're driving an S chassis, there's like 20 different companies that do like every part of the car. So you have a huge field of potential sponsors or whatever to pick from. So you can normally build a car like for a quarter of what you can actually build a Viper for because nobody will sponsor you nothing in a Viper because they think you have money straight away because you're driving a Viper, But I would say the running and operations cost is pretty much the same in any car that you're driving an FD.
right.
It's the potential damage cost or potentially breaking a motor cost that is the big difference. Like, so our motor runs at like 48 grand, and we're after going through 3.5 of like this year because we used one of them twice, but it's broken again. But like that's the big difference. Whereas if you're running a 2J, you're going to be sponsored by like Frauer or PPM or someone, like, you're going to have your rotating assembly and your pistons and rods and cams and everything free or whatever. Like in a core motor is only $1,500 and then your machine work, and you're probably 10 grand into a 1,000 horsepower motor,
Right. So you went through 3 engines at 40 grand a pop.
Yeah, kind of Corey. Yeah, it's not exactly kind of a sore
Ouch.
subject
Yeah,
at the moment.
you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to.
No,
or
but-
if
but
there's
this is
complications in talking
is-
about it. But yeah, what's been going on with your Viper motor program?
Like we had a very solid program for 5 years in the motor. We never had an issue, and we changed around some stuff in the new package this year that should have been foolproof stuff. And yeah, there's just been different failure after different failure, and some of the stuff that we would never have even thought of, like go bad. I don't know. I don't really want to get too into it until we go back and we,
Yeah.
I know, obviously the motor and inspect it and see exactly what's wrong. Like I don't want to be throwing anything under the bus, you know.
Right. But does it all seem to be a similar issue, or is it all different?
The one before Long Beach and this one, is exactly the same issue, yeah. But the both of them had different oiling systems on it, so that's what's also weird. Like one had an external daily oil pump, and one actually had like an OEM style factory pump. But they both had exactly the same problem.
What did you all change with your motor from the previous 5 years to this year?
We're gone. External oil pump, obviously. Different valve train, different bore size and stuff. That's pretty much it. It's got obviously from supercharger to turbo, boosting a little bit more. Nothing crazy, and we changed the engine management as well.
Okay. Interesting. You know, even though it doesn't seem like much, that's literally a whole new engine with that strategy.
Yeah, like in theory, it should have been completely foolproof. It should have been like, why? Like we were not doing the.
Internet on rest areas are obviously, as we know, it's awesome.
So,
Yeah.
Sorry, could you repeat that, Dean? We cut out for the last 10 seconds.
Sorry.
That's
The development package on the motor, you know.
right.
It was like thought out as this is exactly what's going to work and this is what we're going to do, but that was obviously not the case. So
Is it the same engine builder you've been using for the past 5 years?
it is not. But I'm not saying it's his fault either.
Oh no, of course not. No, just
I've
looking at all the
spoken to him on the
variables.
phone.
I'm just looking at all the variables that's changed, and then just looking at it as a whole. Obviously, if you just change one part and one part had the failure, you kind of can pinpoint that. It's like the analogy of when you go out there and you're testing, you change one thing to see what type of response you get, and then once you know that response, then you do another thing. But when you're driving a car and you change 12 things at once, you don't know what 12 things fixed or hurt that one thing. So just
of course.
learning all the variables that you're talking about and considering, shit, you changed 7 things. There's a lot of variables. That's a whole new engine package essentially. But yeah, it sucks that you're having this much issue because you were obviously doing extremely well prior. And when we showed up to Long Beach and we saw your street car in your pits with the easy, we're like, no, this didn't just happen. But just seems like it's one of those things that a lot of some people struggle with.
Yeah, no, like I feel I have a good team of guys around me that don't let it kind of get like everyone down or whatever. Like when we pull together and we're like, hey, look, like there is no point in us all getting back and dwelling on this. Like we need to move forward and just keep on doing what we know and try and make the best of a bad situation. And I feel that's actually what we've done again in Jersey this weekend. Like it was a shitty kind of situation, but we pulled together. Like and the boys stayed up all night and they worked on somebody else's car to get me back out on the track, and that's how dedicated they are,
Right. And there's rumor that a new Viper's coming out in 2020, right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And it's not a V10 either.
No, it's a V8 based on the Hemi motor.
Yeah, why don't you go that route?
Who knows? Who knows what kind of opportunities are going to open up. Right now, though, my focus is on finishing out the rest of the season strong, because obviously this has been the worst start I've ever in my racing career to a season. So we're trying to get back on the wagon. We have a couple of events as well in Europe as well, actually coming up. So we're trying to get all that stuff done, get it all boxed off, and make sure we do the best job possible so that we have a program in 2019.
Has talking about all this Vipers and things like that, has anybody ever called you the Irish version of Hulk Hogan?
Never.
No.
I've never heard that.
That'd be
actually.
cool. You should get a
He pretty much is.
he should get a skullet and wear a little do rag. and come out looking like Mini Hulk.
That's a
Get
really
some-
good idea.
Wouldn't that be cool,
Get
Sam?
some blonde hair and stuff.
Yeah. So now going forward, what do you do from here?
Well, I've had about 30 text messages since I left going, why don't you drive the Get Nuts car for Seattle or whatever? But I can be pretty sure that's not going to happen. We have our own program and we have our own agreements with our partners, so that's what we have to do to fulfill our obligations. Would I enjoy driving the Get Nuts car? Yes, absolutely I would. I thought it was an enjoyable challenge. But I think our 002 chassis is really, really good. I think it's super competitive. And all the partners I have involved in it are 100% behind us, even still, after having this kind of a start to the season. So I feel we owe it to them to come out and
Would
put on a good show for them, you know.
Wouldn't Dodge throw you one or maybe two Hellcat engines?
I don't think that's the solution, really, honestly. I just know, like, the Viper motor it's bulletproof, honestly. Like, it's really, really good. These stupid issues that we're after having, like, should never have happened. But I'm sure if you speak with some of the other teams in the paddock, you will see that not everyone is having it super easy as well.
I don't think anyone really has it super easy.
Yeah, like I've spoken with a lot of teams. They've all had a lot of engine issues in the last couple of months, but no one just knows about it because all of mine are breaking at the track and not during testing.
So what do you do to ensure that the Viper is running in Seattle?
We're gonna go back to a more traditional way of building the motor. I'm pretty sure, like the same way it was for the last couple of years, except for it'll be turbocharged, not supercharged. That would be
Gotcha.
the only difference, which
It's
is
a
not
pretty
going
big
to
change,
matter.
though.
It's not actually, because it's still just boosting the motor, like, you know.
Right.
So it doesn't really change much. So that's what we're going to do, and we will have a fresh motor, and we will have a fresh one on the trailer as well, 100%, just in case we do have any issues. And if it breaks another motor, I'm going to be a very, very upset person.
Yeah. So, like, do you live on the street now? Have you refinanced your house, assuming you owned a house? Like, are you struggling monetarily?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. It's definitely taking a financial burden on the program. Like, we don't run a super expensive, super profitable program at all. Like basically everything that we get, we put that back in the program and more. And that's just the way it is, because we're trying to develop the best program possible. But whatever bit of a cushion that we had is completely wiped out, obviously, and we are scrambling at the moment to try and make sure we can resolve all the issues and get back on the start line in Seattle, you know.
Did you get a chance to watch much drifting after you got knocked out?
I did actually, Sam. As you know, I was sitting there with you.
Yeah, I only saw you at the end though. I don't know how much you actually watched though. So because we want to definitely discuss all of the round, and we'd obviously like to do that with you, assuming that you got to see some of it.
Yeah, I actually watched the whole top 16. It's probably the first time I've ever watched the whole top 16 when I've been knocked out, actually. But I really enjoy Wall. It's probably my favorite track of the year because I think it sets itself up for the best tandem all year. Just how the track actually flows and stuff. I think it's always an amazing event. And I will say I was blown away with the driving there this weekend. It's incredible to be actually part of a sport that is just evolving so quickly, you know. And
yeah.
Hats off to absolutely everyone on the grid. Everyone is just slaying it, throwing it down super hard.
Yeah, it was kind of a messy event though. I feel like the top 32 was relatively tame as far as complications go. It was a pretty cool top 32. We had a lot to talk about for our halftime show. There was some awesome battles, but then top 16 on, although the battles were interesting and some of them intense, it definitely got muddy with judging and crashes and all that stuff.
I think that's what gives Jersey actually harder to feel of it. Like, is the crashes there in Jersey? You know, like it's exciting. Like, and as a driver, obviously you don't ever want to see anyone else crash, but the fans love it. Like, when there's a bit of contact, the cars are getting into each other, and like guys are willing to put it like all on the line and give 110%, and it just goes to show that there's no one who's holding back anymore. Like, there's nobody like it was a couple of years ago. They're like been fairly tame or whatever, like until the top 8 before they turn it up. Absolutely everyone now when they come out of the gate, top 32 is swinging, you know, and going for it.
Yeah.
So.
All right. All right, so let's. I've got a bracket in front of me, Corey and Paco. I don't know if you guys do as well, but like top 32. I don't think there's a ton of battles to really discuss. That were we you know, Wang and Kearney was one of the coolest ones, but one that also stood out was Van Kirk and Castro. Van Kirk beat Jonathan Castro and even qualified higher than him. And we know Castro is a serious competitor when he turns it on, but Van Kirk, rookie, made it to top 16. And he also held on to Lorette's microphone again.
I saw that. It was awesome.
Which, by the way, for the people who were just watching at home and all that, we were up in the towers, on the judges' tower, and we were watching, you know, the interview, and everybody, I mean, including Sage, Jared.
So real quick, Paco, I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
So we got to set up the scene a little bit more. So we try to watch top 32 from the judges' tower, so we can, you know, focus and take good notes so we can do our halftime show well. But yeah, in the tower, it's pretty much just like a couple operations guys, the 3 judges, Jared, Ryan, and us. And when that interview started, you know, we're all watching and just waiting to see, like, we're barely paying attention to Van Kirk's words because we're just like, is he going to grab the mic? Is he going to grab the mic? And at the very end, he grabbed the mic, and everyone just started cheering, like Jared, Ryan, all the judges, everyone just laughed and cheered.
Yeah, so great moment for Van Kirk.
Yeah, so that was an exciting battle in 32. Essa and Blush going one more time was insane. You know, those guys probably wouldn't have seen each other if Kristaps wouldn't have qualified so low, but that was an insane battle for top 32. But yeah, so then top 16. You said you were watching all the top 16 on?
Pretty much, I think I saw pretty much all of it.
What'd you think of Osbo and Wang?
I think it was the right call.
Yeah,
I think Osbo definitely made a mistake first. But if Osbo didn't actually make the mistake, would Wang have still hit him? I think quite possibly.
Yeah,
but
it was.
You couldn't base what could have actually happened on what actually did happen. So I think it was the right call.
Definitely. Yeah, in the judges' tower, it got super tense up there, and them just wanting to watch replay after replay after replay. The judges, that is, trying to determine who is at fault because, you know, this is a very sticky situation. They want to make sure to get it right. And to the point where Ryan and Sage was like, come on, guys, we can't get buried here. Like, let's come up with a call. And yeah, I think they made the right one. I watched the video a couple times again just before the show here, and it definitely seems, and again, you can watch these individual battles on the Formula Drift YouTube. It definitely seemed like Osbo got back on the throttle too late. He slowed down just a hair, and Forrest, being Forrest, was you know, all up in there. And as you guys can say, there's no room for mistakes on the lead the lead driver's part. Like, you are following so close that if he slows down a few miles an hour or gets on the throttle at an awkward time and you're trying to do a super tight follow lick, there's nothing you can do. So unfortunately, I think Osbo even mentioned, Osbo being the gentleman that he is these days, he even mentioned that it was totally his fault, and he slowed down. So that was a good resolution to a difficult battle, I think.
Yep.
Well, he did hit the wall like 3 times, like tap, you know, and trying to adjust.
And it was
all
barely
that.
Noticeable. And one of the things that the judges said, that he wasn't making smoke until pretty late. So you know that he was making corrections and adjusting.
It was off throttle,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the issue was more like very uncommon for Osbo to make this kind of mistake. So that's why it was a little harder to see it, you know. It seemed like it's more like, oh, well, what was it? Because I don't think it's a mistake. And then you see it like, oh, well, kind of looks like it. But definitely took a while to deliberate. But let's move on.
And then, Then I think probably my favorite battle of the weekend, and I told the boys at the Bro Down. Was it like yesterday? Jesus, it's been 2 days. Okay.
Yeah.
The Dean and not Eugene, James
Yeah.
Dean and Peter was the silliest thing I've ever seen. Like it was one of my favorite moments in Formula Drift history. Just those two going up against each other is always funny, but for some reason this time they were just driving even more ridiculous than usual and just being so off the wall with each other. Like it was just super exciting to watch. What was that like for you watching your?
Yeah, the two guys are obviously two fantastic drivers, and it's really good to watch them drive because I think it always comes down to like either a car is going to break or else the best driver on the day is going to win.
Yeah.
Because the two cars are absolutely identical. So I know there's no excuses or whatever. James chassis a good James
Hold on a sec.
on like
You cut out again. Can you say that last line again?
like I said, James would help Peter with the setup on the car because he's very kind of tech savvy or whatever James is. So the two cars would normally be absolutely identical, like in suspension wise. So they would act exactly the same way on the track, and it's always good when you have two cars exactly the same and two drivers that you are splitting hairs to say who's actually better than who, and they just go out and they put it all down there, you know.
Yeah. I'm watching the battle again right now. It's just so ridiculous that they keep on bouncing off each other and hitting each other. And I think it ended when Peter broke an axle in the very end, but it probably would have gone one more time.
Peter had a head gasket failure, I think.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, he said he had a head gasket failure and the car wouldn't rev past 4,000.
Yeah.
Ouch.
But yeah, those guys were maniacs, and that was one of the best moments of the event, maybe of the season. What else we got? Belushi and Gucci.
The Belushi.
What did you say during the halftime show, Corey?
The Belushi brothers.
Yeah.
Yep, the Belushi brothers.
Yeah.
I feel like that was an insane one. I need to pull it up though to see it again. But that was Kristoff's. Like it went one more time, and I think it's just because Kristoff's car is so fast. Like, and he looks like he drives full speed 100% of the time. Like other drivers will just like slow their cars down for a slower competitor. Kristoff's is like, no, let's just keep this thing as tight and as fast for everyone.
As tight as possible. I went for a ride with him in the car actually on Sunday at the Pro Down.
I have footage of it. I was reviewing the footage today while making our RS's video for Blackout Garage at the Bro Down. But yeah, I saw you in the passenger seat of Blush's car.
So hold on, that's interesting. So riding in that car and driving your Viper, how are they similar? How are they different?
Yeah, it definitely opened my eyes to Kristoff's definitely has the best car I've ever been in my life.
It's crazy how comfortable that thing is. When I was putting up that GoPro to film you and James in there, so James Dean also got a ride. I was putting that GoPro, and it's so spacious for a tiny little.
It's so spacious.
The entire cabin is lined in carbon fiber. It is insane. The attention to detail on that car is just so ridiculous.
And like he got it. He just has the money car. I think like it's exactly the right power to weight ratio. The tire to weight is exactly right. Like, and the suspension is really, really on point. I personally think he drives the car a little bit too tight. If it was me, I would free it up a bit, and I think he could qualify number one every time, and then just turn it up when he needs to, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it suits his style. I agree that he'd probably be a statistically better driver if he loosens it up a bit, but it's so fun to watch him. Like, I'm watching the battle now with him and Gucci. It's like Gucci just needs to get the fuck out of his way. Like, no offense to Gucci. Gucci is one of my favorite drivers, but it's like Kristoff's is just on him the whole time. You can see that he's got another 10 miles an hour if he can just get past him. But then in his lead run, he's just kind of like sloppy, unfortunately, and then they go into one more time, which I don't know if it should have. It's one of those battles. There's a couple judging calls that weekend that it's like I'm not sure these battles should have been one more time. And yeah, watching it again now, I'm not sure.
Hey, when it's drifting, you know, that's what makes it what it is as well. It's like that there's always going to be that element of it. So. Yeah,
and they say, you know, you can't leave it for the judges to decide if it's so close that it could be one more time. Like, then you obviously didn't prove your point enough
Exactly.
one side of the argument, but I don't know. Any commentary on top 16, boys, before we get into the top 8?
Let's see. Pollock versus Hanadale. Do you mention that one?
I didn't mention that one.
Okay.
I don't remember that battle.
Yeah, I
specifically
mean,
at
I
the
did
top.
not see it.
Yeah, Pollock
I actually didn't see
obviously.
it.
Pollock was obviously driving amazing this weekend. And he
Yeah,
finished,
he's nailed. This is his
Yeah.
second time qualifying first. He's nailed that car and what the judge is looking for, which is so weird. Not that you would expect Pollock to always be worse than Vaughn, but it's like, you're just kind of used to seeing Vaughn as the top Mustang and Pollock kind of struggling. At least that's how it's been for many years now. But now it's the opposite.
It's the
Vaughn's been
opposite.
struggling and Justin is at the top. He's doing incredible.
Yeah, and again, I mean, like I think he has like a very cool attitude. He's just like, it seems like he's having a lot more fun because this is his program, right, Corey? Like this is like his team. He's not like running it under somebody else's, right? So yeah, it looks like he's having a lot of fun setting the car exactly how he wants it and all that. And I mean, it kind of sucks to see Hanadale also. Like, I mean, it looks like this round wasn't necessarily struggling, but
Brian, sorry to interrupt. Brian, are you able to pull up any of these battles on YouTube and play them for the show, or is that too much bandwidth?
It could be too much just because of the issue we had earlier.
Yeah, I don't want to break the show then, but you guys can watch them. Like I said, if you're listening along, you just go to the Formula Drift video page and check these out.
Yeah,
But-
the problem will be finding them on the 7-hour long stream file.
Yeah, but that's what's cool about the Formula Drift YouTube page now is that they have the battles isolated by battle, so you can just
Oh,
look
cool.
and click.
But
I'm
anyways,
trying to find
yeah.
them.
So
they're
I
not
mean,
in order though. FD, they're not. You should upload them in order because I have to
Oh,
search all around just to find
interesting.
each one.
But yeah, I mean, it's just one of the craziest things. And now every driver, it's on such a high level that on top 32 and top 16, you're seeing these big battles, and you're seeing like big names getting out of the race almost right away.
Well, we've said it on the halftime show that like everything top 16 on is like the finals 2 years ago. Like every battle is so close and so
Yeah.
tense that there's this energy and this skill level that you don't see or you didn't see.
Yeah.
So drifting is definitely as exciting or more exciting than it's ever
I
been.
mean, Field
See, I'm watching-
versus Turk.
I'm watching the Hanadale. Hanadale, like we were discussing it again during the halftime shows. Like Hanadale needs to catch a break because he's driving with the best of them, but he keeps on getting one really tough matchups and two just like making like one tiny error in his run.
Little mistakes.
He should be higher up in the finishing the standings each round, but he just due to his own driving, just a tiny error or just getting really tough matchups, like he's not getting further.
I think Alec he could be a potential hired driver for one of the big teams eventually. Like I
mean,
think,
he's driving an S14 right now, but I mean, he is no, I don't want to say he's a bigger team, but he's got a big sponsor. He's got the ITW, Black Magic, Gum Out, those guys. Like it's
True.
a big sponsor. So he's definitely getting good brand recognition at the moment. But yeah, it's just like one hair too low on the.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to say skill level, but he's just ever so far behind like someone like Justin.
yeah. And then when Field and Turk, I mean that one was a tough one as well. And I mean, and obviously Field, he was definitely on point.
Field was
as
on
well.
one. He was,
Yeah.
he was going to get to the podium no matter what, which was
He's
I love that shot of him
determined.
covered in champagne at the very end. He looked so relieved after a very tumultuous Atlanta round. Field,
Yeah. First
Field has
official
definitely been working very
Corvette.
hard on this Corvette, and we've
Corvette
seen that
podium
Corvette get
in Formula
smashed.
Drift.
Sorry, what, Paco?
Yeah, it's the first official Corvette podium in Formula Drift. Without
Really?
without accounting Pro 2, obviously, with Dirk. So I mean, like GM is back in the drifting game.
Yeah, which it's working with Turk in unison on so many projects and knowing the guy personally pretty well now. It's such a bummer to see Turk lose. He's so like you don't see it as much as like compared to someone like Forsberg. Teammates they're around each other all the time. Like Forsberg very obviously is hungry and wants to win. Turk always seems more casual and like less interested in winning and is more just is in the sport to have a good time and to have fun and be Turk. But like he gets so down when he loses. It's a bummer to see. And I know he doesn't really listen to the show, so I can talk. Not that I'm talking shit, but I'm being honest. Like he gets so bummed when he loses. It's always so sad. Like I went into the Forsberg RV to grab some camera equipment after he got knocked out, and it was just like him and the entire team lights turned down low, like solemn faces, just like talking in hushed voices. Like it's rough. It sucks.
Yeah, I think a lot of everybody kind of feels that same way. It's not just Turk. I think everybody's putting the same amount of effort in, and it just everybody kind of has their own ways as far as coping with that. And because I think honestly, to compete at this level, you need to be able to sacrifice as much time as the person next to you, or you're not going to be competitive. So it's
Well, it's like I'm curious. I now that I'm not on Vaughn's team anymore, like I don't know. I'm curious what his demeanor is like after getting knocked out so early all these rounds. I mean, it can't be as easy as maybe I remembered him. But like in the past few years, when he get knocked out early, he would smile and then go out and talk to the fans and do the Vaughn thing. And maybe he cried himself to sleep at night, but I didn't see it.
I don't know, but
he was always kind of upbeat, and he was there to make the show go on, and he knows that the program is the most important thing, and not that Turk doesn't, but it's like Vaughn could put on this face and would still act like nothing happened.
Well, do you think?
I guess everyone deals differently.
Well, that's the interesting thing that I would look at then is do you think Formula Drift is his primary focus? And if you do lose in Formula Drift and not being at your primary focus, do you get as upset?
I mean,
does that make sense? Like, I understand he's doing it to stay competitive and stay, relevant and support his brands and build it. But at the end of the day, I don't know. Just me personally speaking, I don't know if that's his primary focus is winning. Obviously, it's a high priority, but I think
but I think Turk's the same way though.
What's that?
It's not like Turk has a thousand other things going on too. I mean, Formula Drift is the core of both these guys' existence, but it's...
right. And then you have the Tanner Fast effects where he got launched off, and now he's beyond Formula Drift, and he's into the next realm of his automotive career, which he's been more successful at in some degree, as far as being able to make a career out of it. And so that would be the thing is, obviously, Turk gets very upset, but do you think, once again, Vaughn's just looking at, hey, do you know what? It's just one of those things, but it's not my primary focus. My primary focus is this, but this is helping support it. So, yes, I'm down, but at the end of the day, we're still doing what supports the end goal, which is to have a successful business, a great car company. This is just a fun thing that I'm doing to help build that. So, I don't know. I think it's all how you mentally establish what your motives are and what your primary care is. And like Dean, this would be a question for Dean. What's your primary focus in competing in the sport?
I know. I think any of us in the sport obviously want to win the championship. That's what I want to do.
Right.
And then after that, then I would start thinking about other things. But yes, like we obviously have different events every year going on that we have to do, and they're probably what I would I know are the money makers in the program is all the stuff that you do outside of FD, and FD is where you come to spend all the money that you make because you're trying to make a car as competitive as possible. And if you think you can spend an extra 10 grand and get an extra quarter of an inch of angle out of your car, you're going to do it,
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned Tanner today. I actually had a meeting with him and the RS boys today. He's going to be at Grid Life, of course. We're talking about some video content for that and beyond, but it's cool.
With the Passat?
With T Fau.
Yeah, and you had Daniel Ricciardo there today?
Yeah, Daniel. There's a star-studded day at the RS headquarters. Daniel Ricciardo knows me adamantly as the s'more guy.
What does that mean?
It is a humble brag. I taught Daniel Ricciardo what a s'more is, and I made him a s'more. We were at the beach. We had like a beach fire pit thing,
Sounds
like at
lovely.
the end of winter, and he was down there, and
Okay.
he'd never heard of a s'more before, and I of course used the line from The Sandlot. I told him about a s'more. And Anywho, let's get back to the battles. We still have more to talk about. Wang and Field. That's a big one.
Wang and Field. So obviously we saw that there was like a little bit of controversy on a call.
Same spot, not even a little bit. I don't think it was really controversial this time. But what's crazy is this is the same spot, almost the same situation as what happened with Wang and Forsberg.
So the difference is that this time Wang wasn't like doing like 90 degrees of angle against the wall. Like he was definitely being more conservative. but I also
But
think
he
Field was a little bit more
definitely
aggressive.
Decelerated, and the
Oh, yeah.
judges this time, even though they took a little bit to deliberate, they still came up with the same thing, is that this is not a deceleration zone. You coming off that bank, you're full throttle. I guess you can tell us better, Dean. Is coming off the bank, do you lift usually when you go around that touch and go?
Coming off the bank, I lift the throttle just a fraction, just to get the car
Rotate.
settled. Yeah, and
Well, I guess we'll never know.
Hold on, Dean, you talking?
It's the Illuminati.
Yeah, he does not gonna, he got censored immediately when he was just
Hello?
gonna throw the recipe.
Hey, there you go.
There it is.
All right, coming off the bank, you let up on the throttle, you let the car rotate, then what?
actually, what happens every time I'm in a truck stop? But a truck actually comes out of a truck stop and cuts the signal every time.
Oh,
Really? That's weird. I wonder if it's a truck's radio or something.
But what I was saying to you is I lift the throttle just to get the car settled, like for half a second is all, and then it's full throttle past that first inside clip.
Yeah. But thankfully this time there was not a lot of controversy. I don't think there was too many hurt feelings. I know that Forrest team went up and tried to protest.
but they protest a different thing.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, they what happened was taking off the line. How was that? It was. I'm trying to remember. It was a different issue. It was from the next battle.
Oh, the next half.
Yeah, I think Wang took off the line under. I think like the light went on and Wang went ahead, but then he stopped because he thought like there was like a foul line or something like that.
Oh, and then
But-
they didn't stop the battle.
Yeah, they
so
didn't
he-
stop the battle because he just like stopped. So that kind of like they were like trying to see if there was like some kind of like rule that would allow them to do that, just because he thought it was like a what do you call it, like a flag, like a
restart.
yellow, like a false start or a restart, something like that.
And that's
yeah,
we said it during the show and the halftime show and beyond, is just that this track especially, and Dean, you can probably attest to this, if you don't start as a chase car, like if you're not starting pretty much before the lead car or at least the same time as the lead car, like you're left behind because you have the angle of the track. You can't miss a fraction of a second, because if you lose a couple car lengths on the drag race, you're done.
It's over with. I think Vaughn brought up a very good statement in the driver's briefing of having the chase car to be able to be slightly angled on the bank, so that when they accelerate out a hole, that they don't actually fall down, like, And I think that helped massively with everyone on the entry. That two cars were getting there at the same time. Whether or not the two drivers were I don't know, like entering at the same time, that's still obviously up in the air, and it comes down to if the chase driver is ballsy enough and they want to risk it. But I think the process of getting the two cars to the first corner at the same time was actually very good this weekend.
Yeah. So wait, where the driver is allowed to angle? The chase driver is allowed to angle on the slope at all?
Just the chase driver, yeah.
Interesting. And that did help you guys get
Massively.
Really?
Yeah,
I somehow didn't notice that. I guess from the viewing angle, it's tough to see.
Yeah.
Interesting.
interesting.
I skipped JTP and Forsberg, which Forsberg was having car trouble, which is kind of a interesting bro down story, because his car kept stalling. Like he would come off the line and it would just brr. And you saw that with the restart. The second half of the battle, Forsberg jumps off the line and his car just dies. And he tried to call 5, but he couldn't, because once you start the battle, you can't call 5. So he was just done at that point, which is definitely a bummer for him and his team. But they solved it that night before Brodown, and they thankfully just replaced some minor electrical parts, and the car worked fine. But it's definitely a bummer when just a simple sensor essentially knocks you out. But he was able to drive at Brodown, which was at least cool. But yeah, it shows him for maybe winning the event, because he's been on fire lately. But yeah, just one tiny little sensor is all it takes these days.
Who do you think is going to win the championship, Sam?
Let me look at the standings right now. It's always tough. I remember in Long Beach we write our money. Our group writes a name on $20 and puts it into a pot, and we see. In the past 4 years, I've always written Vaughn's name just because I was on his team, and I got to have that team spirit. This year, I think I wrote Forsberg, but I remember thinking, like, damn, maybe I should have written Peter. I think, let's see. So right now, Dean is in first with 313 points. Freddie is only 17 behind, 296. Forsberg is 39 behind with 274. And then Peter is a fair ways behind with 226, 87 down from Dean. So as of right now, it's Dean, Osbo, Forsberg, 3 champions. I think that Peter still is in the game. I want to see. Yeah. I think just for excitement's sake, I want to see Peter win. Osbo has something going this season though that I think he's kind of unstoppable. He made that little mistake, but there's something about his driving that is very, very precise. But I think it's anyone's game. I think Dean, Osbo, and Forsberg are all going to be easy bets to say. Peter is kind of on the outside, but I can see Peter winning still.
I still have one wild card in there. With a,
you're going to say Matt Kaufman?
That's
always your wild card. You always want Matt to win. There's nothing wrong with wanting Matt to win, but
no. But I'm talking about like on these top drivers right now. Kristaps is in 6th position. And he's
Kristaps,
only
Peter,
behind.
and JTP are all very close.
He's only behind
Forrest.
105. Yeah, and I mean, and actually, JTP and Kristaps and Forrest are not that far from each other. And
pretty much anyone in the top 10, like even Turk, who hasn't had the most impressive season so far, he's
124.
He's won all these drivers in the bottom 5, like the 6 through 10. If any one of them wins an event, and James, Osbo, and Chris kind of do poorly, they could be just right up there.
Yeah.
So it's still a very tight gap.
Yeah. With 4 rounds ahead, I still think the scoreboard can be shuffled quite a lot. Because I mean, I think Kristaps, I think he still has at least another victory this season.
Yeah, I think Kristaps is going to win.
I think we're gonna see him on the first podium, on the first place.
Texas.
You think
he could win Texas?
His car is going to do
very well.
That's going to be where that car is going to be its best.
Because he's so fast, and that I feel like that course definitely favors tight cars because there's not really, the fast transition is kind of a technical transition. But I don't know. I see Dean and Peter's cars doing really well there as well. James Dean.
They're kind of good all-around cars, honestly.
But they rotate in such a ridiculous way. You saw it in the transition at New Jersey. You see it in the transition, the middle field transition. You see it at Texas. They rotate in such a snappy, fast way that no other car does.
Yeah, but they're just also right. Like they don't make stupid amount of horsepower. They're not always the fastest car, but they're good enough to be always sharp, and the cars are always reliable, so they never miss the start line. Like they never miss a practice lap, and they maximize the 12-lap rule every time.
And that seems to be the recipe for winning. All the winners in the past few years have not had wild cars, and except for maybe Freddie because he always was changing out motors. But yeah, I mean that seems to be the common theme.
I think at the moment, if any driver at the moment has a good car package that's able to hold together and they have seat time, the whole trick at the moment I think is seat time, because the driving has gone so close. It's a game of inches now, not like he was close enough by 2 feet anymore. Like it's seriously getting down to inches now when you're in the tandem position,
Yeah. It's all about that 3 inches you need. Yeah.
Seriously. I've been looking for it all my life.
So
let's see.
We then have Odie and Dai, which I actually missed that battle. I forget where I was. Do you guys
I
remember
missed it also.
Where were we? Was that when we went behind the porta potties and we hugged?
That was when myself and you were speaking about man stuff.
Oh yeah, doing man stuff. We're cutting down trees. We're lumberjacking.
Yeah. America.
Lumberjerking each other off.
What?
Lumberjerking.
No, not that. I didn't say nothing. What? Who knows what could have happened? All right, since I don't remember it, whatever. Unless you guys have anything to say about it, Dean and the Gucci. Was it a pretty decisive Dean win? I don't remember this one either.
I don't remember seeing that. I remember seeing Dean and Odie. Dean and Odie was a good battle, I thought, actually.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That was on the top 4.
Yeah, so Dean and Odie was definitely a very good battle. Odie won last year. Odie could have very easily been on the podium here because he qualified second, but JTP got knocked out in top 4 as well, and he qualified first. Otherwise, Odie would have been on the podium.
That kind of sucks, actually. That actually kind of sucks to qualify that high and still miss out on 3rd place.
I know, it's pretty insane.
Yeah.
Well, but still, you know, like he right now Odie is sitting on 8th position. You know, with
it's such a large amount of points though that you lose from 4th place to, let's see, so 4th place, what do you get? You get
64.
You get 64 points
versus 100.
Place,
it's still it's a lot of points.
Yeah, third place. Third place is 64 as well.
Points. Yeah.
Oh my God, look at that. Yeah,
so 4 to the same points.
So he didn't even lose it. So he literally only got 1 point less than JTP because JTP got 7 in qualifying. I didn't know that. That's the first time I that's been brought to my attention. I'm sure someone said it before, but I just forgot it. But 3rd place and 4th place get the same points. I'll be damned. Who got 2nd place again?
Field.
So Field. So 80 points. So you miss out the 16 points. That's pretty big. And then 20 points for the gap between 2nd and 1st. So yeah. Yeah, I guess that's not so bad for Odie. I guess it doesn't really matter. You don't get to drink the champagne, which sucks. At that point, it's just the feeling of drinking the champagne that you're missing out on.
Yep.
He won 1 point less on qualifying.
Yeah.
7 versus 6. I mean, it adds up, but I mean, I think again, like you said, you know, everybody in the top 10 is still somehow in the race.
Yeah, especially with so much season to go. Seattle, I feel like Seattle's kind of a weird round in that you get people that like you, Dean, you drive incredibly well at Seattle. What about that course brings it out of you, do you think?
What are you trying to say? I don't drive incredibly well everywhere?
Well, when your car works, you do, but I mean...
I just give you a hard time.
No, I know what you mean. But you drove when I saw you there get on the podium, how many ever years ago that was, you drove better than everyone else. Like, it was... I'm not used to seeing the Viper being tossed around like that. It was pretty impressive to watch. What about that course suits you?
Yeah, I think at the time, it's 4 years ago now, it was a track was like high entry speed, high level of commitment on the first corner, and our Viper was probably like Blus's car is now at the time. It was super, super fast. It was faster than everything else at the time. So I'd say that gave us a bit of an advantage at the time in Seattle. But like, I like those kind of big, fast tracks and like sitting up on the wall forever is just awesome feeling, you know?
Yeah. What do you think about Dean winning this is his first win this year, right? Like, we all kind of, judging by how badly he beat everyone last year, like, we all kind of, or at least I kind of expected a repeat performance, but people caught up. People built their cars better. People became sharper drivers, and Dean has been, I don't think he got any worse. I think other people got better, but Dean got back in the podium for the first time. What do you think about his season so far and his prospects?
He finished. Has always been like there, and he was 4th in. Hello, you there?
Yeah, we got you.
Sorry, yeah. He was 2nd in Orlando. He was 4th in Long Beach, like top 8 in Atlanta. He's always been like really, really there at the sharp end of the grid.
Yeah, I guess I should say that. It's not like he's like gotten so much worse. It's just we haven't seen him win every event like he did last year.
Yeah, it was definitely good to see him back on the box. Like, I think he's a fantastic driver, and he does good things for the sport, and he's humble, and he's completely about the driving and nothing else, and he's no drama or bullshit. And it's definitely always good to see him win, because he's the kind of guy, like, when he wins, he really appreciates it, like, and he's super grateful for it, you know. So it's always good to see that.
He told me something that kind of scared me at Brodown. He told me that his mom's coming to Irwindale, and she watched our driver on driver video, and she wasn't happy.
She was not happy though.
Yeah, because I made that joke about James Dean fucking his sister.
Oh,
I mean, I didn't make the joke. It was the title of the porn.
one of the
It
movies.
was the title of the porn that James Dean, the porn actor, was in. I just implied that James Dean, the drifter, was in it, and I guess his mom watched it, and he says that she's not happy, and he says that she's gonna have some words with me in Irwindale.
His mom is the sweetest lady you'll ever meet in your life. She'll actually probably show up like a rosary
She's
beads or whatever. Bless you.
She's gonna punch Sam in his little wanker.
You know what you should do, Sam? You need to bring your mom to Irwindale.
Oh, my mom could beat up your mom.
And then, like, have him go at a nice off. No, they can go like see who's a nicer
who's the
mom.
better drift mom.
Yeah. And then, like that way you guys can just like let the moms settle it down for you guys.
The only way to stop a mom is with a mom, I've always heard. How long have we been on? Should we get to Instagrams? Do we have more questions?
We have a lot of Instagram questions, but I was just thinking about like what I think you should do, like a driver on driver, but more like a mother on mother, and have a
mother on mother action.
Yeah, have both drift moms sit in a drift car, and just go at it, and just like same format as driver on driver.
Yeah, well, I think it'd be fun just to let like two drift moms have an organic conversation. Like,
yeah,
if my mom and anyone's any of the other drift.
Well, I can already picture it now,
and just like talk for 20 minutes about whatever.
Whose son is nicer?
Yep.
Yeah.
She think about James Dean's mom's like, oh, my son's a multi-time championship-winning driver. He drives all over the world. He's the premier driver in Formula Drift champion. And Sam's mom's would be like, my son Sam likes cats.
My son Sam made fun of yours on a video that got 70,000 views, but I mean that as like a low number. But like, yeah, it's like, oh well, he leeches onto other people's fame and talks shit to them to get his own fame. So I guess that's something my son does.
No, Sam, I like you. You are a bit of an asshole, but you're a nice guy.
I'm a good asshole, but that's like James Dean's an asshole to me. Like I never know if he's not fucking with me anymore. Like at Brodown, like I guess I always start off the conversation with like, oh cool, you're here. So I guess it's my fault for starting it that way. But yeah, I'm doing the best I can.
Well, now every time we leave an
cut me
event,
some slack.
Every time we leave an event, we kick his tire on the S15 before we leave. Like in Atlanta, you just walk up and everybody licks and you videotape it.
Shit. Tire kicker.
Yep. Just a little bit extra twist of the knife before we leave.
Real quick, Aria Renee from the Facebook wants us to talk about Chelsea. He has some rough times this year. So Chelsea went up against Helbrun in top 32. That's one of the battles we talked about in the halftime show, but we passed over here. Yeah, Chelsea and Helbrun. Chelsea is driving like one of the best drivers out there, but he's definitely had some tough breaks. Either fighting against himself, which he's the first to admit that he's always his biggest competitor. Like he sometimes has a hard time bringing it down from 11 out of 10 to 10 out of 10 driving. And yeah, I'm trying to remember. I remember the battle with Helbrun was crazy, but hold on, let me pull it up real quick.
Helbrun was driving pretty good,
doing
actually.
Better than Vaughn right now, I believe.
Points-wise, Chelsea's on number 14 with 123, and Vaughn is in number 16 with 107.
Yeah.
So, And just real quick, just talking about points real quick. Matt Van Kirk just went up 2 points from Dirk Stratton on their battle for
the Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year.
Which positions are they in?
Matt Van Kirk's in 17 and Stratton's in 19. So Stratton was leading the battle and Van Kirk just passed him. So and same thing, Stratton was driving pretty strong.
Mad shout out to Miss Stratton. I was in line at the concession stand at Brodown, and she was in line in front of me, and she insisted on buying my breakfast burrito.
Aww.
So thank you very much, Mrs. Stratton. I appreciate it. That was a very odd burrito at the track. It was like just an open tortilla with a big hash brown and like a sausage patty in it, but it was delicious.
Nice.
But she got that for me. Thank you, Stratton. Oh, and then also they didn't have any hot sauce, so I went into the Stratton family RV. I had for the first time some Heinz jalapeno ketchup.
Oh.
Which I didn't even know was a thing that existed.
Hala ketchup.
Yeah. All right, so watching this battle with Chelsea and Helbrun, Chelsea drove very in control for Chelsea, and I mean that in the best possible way, in that he's always so wild and awesome in his driving. He reeled it in, and he drove very controlled and very conservatively for Chelsea, and that means that he should have probably won, but Helbrun was just a little bit better, a little bit closer.
Yeah, I guess.
And,
I guess
it's
yeah.
tough for Chelsea.
But I mean, at the same time, it was a good battle. It wasn't.
It was a great battle.
Yeah,
and Helbrun coming off of a blown motor in Atlanta.
Yeah.
He showed up and really showed up. He qualified 8th. Goes
back to what we're saying. Even on top 32, there's tough battles. Everybody can surprise the result.
And it looks like the only thing Chelsea really did wrong was he got lost in the smoke on his chase run. Just at the very end, he went wide. Otherwise, I think it would have been possibly his battle. So bummer for him, but yeah, I think we're bringing it up. Ari in chat.
Yeah, well,
all right.
There you go, Aria Renee. Thanks for asking for that battle review.
Oh, and also don't forget we have our YouTube super. What do you call the money?
Super chat. Super chat.
Yeah, you guys can give money to Paco's Karne Asada fund.
No, this one goes for my hentai. For my
donate to
hentai
super
collection.
chat, we will answer your question. So if you want to make sure your question gets answered, give us a couple bucks and we will answer it. Yeah, it's whatever. We're assholes that way, but we don't get to all the questions. If you definitely want your question answered, give us some money.
Straight up.
All right. First Instagram question. Cool Cars Weekly. Drift Corvette or Drift Mustang?
That's for
Are we talking to me?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you, man. These are Instagram questions for you. We post on Instagram, and feel free to ask on Facebook. Feel free to ask on Super Chat YouTubers. Questions for Dean, the Carnival ride, Kearney.
Carnival.
I don't know, man. Cool Cars Weekly. Drift Corvette or Drift Mustang?
Drift Corvette.
Why?
It's cooler. I think it's cooler. And I think it definitely has more potential as a chassis to be really, really sharp.
It's probably more similar to the Viper than the Mustang, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, long hood, long car.
They are transaxle though, so they're definitely balanced a bit differently, but suspension geometry is kind of similar style. Yeah, I just would prefer one if I had a choice.
Fair enough.
We have a question from username Josh Robinson 530. Let's see.
Don't let this guy near your girlfriend, dude.
He already tried it. My girlfriend was actually texting me and was not happy.
What? What do you mean?
Like,
Joey, I gotta hear this.
No, I'm just joking.
He's after all, he is the girlfriend stealer.
Yep.
Well, it doesn't steal him. He just gives them downstairs kisses. Or excuse me, down under kisses. That's not right.
You ruined the joke, Sam. Good job.
No. Boo.
Get out of stage. He's asking, does he think the name Drift McGregor is fitting for him?
Drift McGregor.
I think he named you the Drift McGregor.
Like you and McGregor from the Star Wars prequels?
Yeah, of course. From Trainspotting.
Trainspotting.
Oi.
Drift McGregor. I don't know. Is it fitting? Is it?
I think it's a little
Conor
fitting.
McGregor? Connor?
Yeah, like Conor McGregor.
I'm gonna go with you and McGregor.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it fitting? I'm not a very aggressive person, am I?
I think
no.
after you slammed into Michael Essa at long.
Hang on a second. Let's set something straight. Hang on. We looked at the telemetry on my car, and we were 11 miles an hour slower going in there behind Essa than in our qualifying run.
Huh.
So,
okay.
I'm not saying there was any funny business or whatever, but we were definitely going in there slower, and we were obviously trying to initiate in the same places we were all weekend.
Yeah. Well,
wait, which what are you guys talking about?
This is in Road Atlanta. Remember that Essa ended up in the
hit us on entry.
Kitty litter. But then the next run, it was exactly the opposite.
Yeah, that was good times.
Yeah.
So I had one here.
Corey has a question.
I have to find it again. Hold on. It was actually one of the best questions I've ever read in Driftcast history.
Uh-oh.
Let me get it back.
Was that the very first question?
No, this is.
Sorry, I lost you guys.
I think I got this question for you. I personally think it's one of the best questions ever asked in Driftcast history, and this is from Nathan Bakey. He goes, "Why a Dodge Viper, not a well dick?"
All right.
I don't think.
Are you there?
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
here.
He got stumped.
Yeah.
All right. So
Hello?
why a Dodge? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can now. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. The question from Nathan was why a Dodge Viper and not a whale dick?
That's a good question.
Yeah, very
course.
good. Very topical.
Something I never asked myself.
All right. Good.
So no answer, huh?
No.
No,
Okay.
no.
I mean, it's a tough question to answer because, I mean, who wants to really say in this economy?
Right.
Yeah.
I think I can assume just well dicks are harder to find than a Viper's.
Yeah.
And that's, if think about how expensive a Viper is, how much more expensive is to get a tail light for a well dick?
Yeah.
Yeah, taillight for whale dick
Plus,
can't
is
be
it-
easy to find.
Your budget would
Yeah.
not go very
Plus,
far.
would it be a soft one or?
I don't even, I think there's only one type of whale dick, but I just can't imagine the parts to get that thing running.
No. There's sperm whales, blue whales, whale sharks, narwhals, which I think are more of a dolphin than a whale, but
Right.
I'm going to count them.
There's Wales,
Right.
Wales, England.
Welcome to Whalecast, Maximum Whalecast.
Mhm.
We got
Wales, England?
Yeah.
Wales, England? There's no such thing as Wales, England.
Wales is Wales.
United Kingdom.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's part of the
sorry.
UK.
Wales, United
Paco, why don't you
Kingdom.
get your British history
Ah.
down?
Sorry. So welcome back to
Paco, you silly American.
welcome back to Maximum History Cast with Professor Dean Kearney,
Educates
Professor
Paco on
Karne.
gynecology.
geography expert. He's got a double PhD in female arts and what's it called?
Look, Paco, he's just tired about hearing history. He wants to hear her
Here's
story.
another one. Let's cut the
Oh,
shit.
sorry.
This is for you. Joseph Groves asks, why you got all this useless horsepower?
I would not say it's useless horsepower. The car is 1,400 horsepower with its boost by gear, so it's 1,400 horsepower in sixth gear, like 1,250 in fifth, and what we would always use is fourth gear, which is like 1,150 horsepower.
So do
And
you
we
have... Sorry, go on.
we can turn enough grip into the car that it will bog it down. So it's definitely not useless horsepower, that's for sure.
So do you have the most powerful car in FD?
I think we have the most powerful drift car in the world, actually.
Ooh.
Ooh, how big is my whale?
I just heard a little
Yeah.
popped a little boner. Yep. Bang.
Cling.
All right, so this
There's
is
a
actually...
big whale dick.
Yeah,
Boom.
suck on that.
This is pretty on
you wild
topic.
dick.
Macho Man Randy Sanchez says, "What's your favorite dinosaur?"
Ooh.
Can't be a whale dick. You got
Hey, no personal questions, Macho. Come
It
on.
could be megalodon dick, I guess.
Yeah.
T-Rex, no?
T-Rex.
That's
dick.
kind of a generic dumb one.
I mean, that's kind of boring, but if that's
Right.
what you are,
Because he probably has little arms, just like Dean.
just like yeah. If you guys haven't seen Dean in person,
He has
huge
tiny
legs,
arms.
tiny arms. Very weird.
That's why he sits so close to the steering wheel. You know, if you look in the seating
That's why
position.
I'm on.
Yeah, look
That's
how
why
he
I'm up here.
look how he texts, for God's sakes.
All right. What?
Let's
You guys got
see.
some more?
Let me look at the YouTubes. No, nobody wants to.
Can
Nobody
we
wants.
ask?
Um.
Can we ask questions that are actually like somewhat important? Because I'd like to get back on the road and not be sat in this truck stop with the rest of the
Oh
night.
man. Oh, are you hopping back on the road after you get off the phone with us?
Yeah, man, we don't fucking
Damn.
wait around. We've
That's
shit to
commit-
do.
That's commitment, man. Thanks
Yeah.
for pulling off the road to
Yeah.
enough to talk
Of
to
course.
us.
Well, he usually pulls off the road this night anyways to find some lot lizards. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, have you turned down any truck drivers that are like calling on you looking for a little glory
Actually,
hole, or has it been pretty quiet there?
I'll give you a funny story, actually. We pulled into a truck stop last night in somewhere in Arkansas or something, I think. And we were walking over to the gas station, and there was this dark couple that were sat there with the hood of their car up. And they were like, "I'm sorry, sir, can you help me out?" So I was like, "Oh, great." So, and I walked over and I looked in, and they were like, "Our car is broken down." So I was like, "Well, I'm aware." And it's like your water pump is smoked, like it's completely toasted. So they're like, "Have you got like any money on you?" So I was like, "No, I don't." And they were like, "Man, we have no money," and blah blah blah, and all this kind of bullshit story. So the guy that's with me, Tommy, said, "Hang on a second, I'll go back and I'll get you some money out of the truck." guy goes back and he gets him $100, and the girl looks at the stripper, and he gives her $100, and she's like, just thank you very much or whatever. We walk back over, we got in the truck, and she pulls out in the broken car, and she drives across the street, and there's a strip club in the lot. She parks at the strip club. So I'm sure she was probably staff there or whatever, you know.
Oh man, that is.
He just got
What
hustled.
sucks is that there is, I'm sure, at some point in history, been or will be someone who has actually broken down at a gas station that really needs help. But stories like that and just my own intuition. Every time someone at a gas station's like, my car's out of gas, I got to go pick up my kid from school. I'm really in a hard time. I'm like, fuck you, you liar.
Yeah.
Like one of these times, it's got to have been a real person.
It was funny last night though. She literally pulled back up outside the strip club and inside the truck stop.
The thing's buried in the red on the heat. And she just smokes it across the highway to get to. It's funny actually. Logan in the Facebook chat says his favorite dinosaur is the lot lizard.
Very good.
The what?
The
All right,
lot lizard.
so, but hold on. No, I mean, we need to get to the important questions here. He
Right.
doesn't have a lot of time. He's really sacrificed a lot of time for us. So let's just get to a couple more really important ones that he wants to answer. So LAA0FA says, I'd like to add on to Macho Man's question, what's your favorite flying dinosaur, swimming dinosaur, and ground dinosaur?
Oh fuck.
We already covered ground dinosaur. That's T-Rex. What's your favorite flying and swimming?
All right, I gotta go. All right.
Well, let me see. Let me see if there's any more real questions.
That's
that
all.
was good.
That's all I got.
Let's see.
One last one.
We have one question from Dan Summer.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Summer.
Yeah.
What's up, Dan?
Yeah.
Get a haircut, buddy.
Who's Dan Summer?
He worked for
Hollywood
me last year.
Yes.
He done all the fabrication on
Danger Dan.
002.
He's asking. I think he's asking you. Is my bike at your house?
I cycled one of your bikes down to the bars a couple of weeks ago and never brought it back. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
But I
It
know
was a
where
good
it probably
question.
was.
All right, go
That's
get your
good, I guess.
go get your bike, Dan.
What's your favorite bar in Huntington Beach? Is that where you go? Is that where you go party?
Yeah, if I was going for a drink, I'd go to Huntington Beach. They just opened up a new bar in Pacific City called Bungalow. I think they have one in Santa Monica also. It's actually pretty rad.
Bungalow.
Oh yeah. Well, after the season's over, when we have some time, I'm gonna go down to your bungalow, and you can come up to mine in Santa Monica, and then we can go back to my actual bungalow, see where the night takes us.
And you
know
can
what
see
I
his
mean?
little bung hole.
The bungalow.
Just
All
like
right.
internet dating right here.
I mean, this is how it happens. You know, Tinder is not real relationships. This is how it starts. You really gotta court a guy through years and years of forming the drift, and then you get him on your podcast. You go to his bungalow, he goes to yours. You got it.
Years and years of you talking shit on me, and then you're eventually like, oh,
Hey,
well,
I've
He's not going
barely
anywhere.
talked shit on you. You've been a very minimal target on my radar, but you know what?
that's because you know I'd slap you upside the head, Sam.
Yeah, Sam.
All right, cool.
Oh, by the way, and before we let you go, give me a number between 1 and 141.
43.
43. Perfect. I'll
What
explain.
did they win? What did 43 win?
I'll explain a little bit so we can send Dean into the night.
Word. Dean, anything you want to tell us? Any appearances you're making soon? You want to promote? Anything?
Yeah, our next event is Goodwood Festival Speed in the UK, which we're flying over our 2017 Formula Drift Viper for it, and then we're doing Red Bull Drift Shifters in Liverpool, and Liverpool, UK, before the week before Seattle, and then we're back on the US circuit then for the rest of the year.
Awesome.
Oh boy.
Liverpool, is that in Wales or is that in England?
It's in the United Kingdom.
I never heard of that.
Mm.
Yeah,
I don't know.
ring a
I heard.
bell.
I heard they Brexit, so nobody cares anymore. Oh,
Well, thank you, Dean, Carnivore, Carnage, Kearney. We
Carnival.
appreciate you taking all the time at this shady truck stop to speak with us. And sorry about your tough luck. Good job ripping Forrest backup car.
Thank you very
And,
much.
Can't wait to talk to you soon and potentially kick your fucking ass, you little bitch.
Yeah, you heard it first.
Brave man behind the screen, Sam.
ooh.
Yep. All right, buddy. Get on the road. We'll see you later.
All Right, guys. Corey, I'll give you a shout when I drive through tomorrow and see if you're about.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Paco
Same
can
with
go
you,
fuck himself,
Paco. Same
obviously.
with you, Paco.
Might get some breaky fast or
Sam, you can
something.
go fuck yourself.
Yeah. All right, boys.
Hey, yo, guys.
We'll see you.
Thanks.
Later, buddy.
Thank you
Nah.
very much. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What a nice guy is this
What a nice guy is this?
is this
New
this
segment
guy.
from Paco.
Oh my God, he's still there. God
Brian,
damn it.
hang up on this motherfucker.
I hate him. I said I don't.
Thank
there you
God.
go.
Oh, he's gone. Ugh, that was awkward. All right, new segment. What a nice guy is this?
What a
I'm
nice
gonna
guy
say
is this fella?
No, nay on him. He's not a nice guy. No, he's a super nice guy.
Yeah.
Very nice guy. Very well spoken. Had a tough year.
Yeah.
I would say between him and Peter and Dean, I like him the middle. Peter is my favorite because he's
Yep.
just a special little boy.
Yep.
James Dean is the worst.
is the worst, obviously.
Yeah, he's not very nice either.
Yeah. It's not nice
No,
at all. I mean,
he's
he's a
not
terrible.
nice
He
at
never
all.
says hi.
Nope.
He always, when as soon as he sees us, he just like turns around and just walks away.
Yep.
Yeah.
Peter
comes, gives us hugs and kisses.
I made a list. I made a list of things we have to discuss. We don't have to spend too long on a lot of
Yeah,
these.
let's just go. Let's go.
But the first thing, the most important thing I think we can all say, and Corey would probably agree, is Corey's got a working car for the first time
Yes.
in 10 years.
Oh my God. You guys, thanks. I appreciate. If I could curtsy
That was
right
a
now,
standing ovation.
I would curtsy.
You're on camera. Give us a curtsy.
Dude,
Hold on.
it has been.
Yeah,
It's been absolutely crazy. It has been so crazy. And this is like the first time me not seeing the car being worked on. First time I haven't touched the car in probably 3 months, which was very difficult for me, might I add, because I do like being a part of it. But sometimes you got to realize when it gets in the right people's hands, you don't have to be another cook in the kitchen. Because as you know, Paco, I'm not the most sufficient mechanic in the world. But what I'm good at is handing tools. I went to school for that. I could go pick up food.
Pick up food. You're very good at picking up food.
I could pick up food.
You would just drill wood screws into the coolant lines.
Oh,
Like
could,
when you and Dustin built that Z.
Yep, I could self-tap screws into things. I'm not very efficient at it, so once again, I got to give it to the guys at Portland Speed when they messaged me. Jason, at first, reached out to me, and once again, this all started off Jason just saying, "Dude, I'm sick and tired of seeing your car not running. Just get it here. Get it here."
That's so funny that you've complained and not had a working car for so long that someone was like, please, just let me handle this.
Well, I think some people, and it's so funny because even when I go to events, I still get people like, "Man, I felt so part of your car and so overbuilt for the past 3 years." People actually told me in New Jersey that they're sad to see it done because they want to keep following me to see what else I can run into with it. Literally, I probably had 3 or 4
hold
people.
on. The saga's not over yet. It still has to throw down a lap at Grid Life.
Yes. Yep. So we'll have to throw down, which they seem more confident about it than anything. But
Is it gonna make it on the bus? I mean, it's Grid Life is starting. It starts Thursday, but Drifting starts. I don't know if Drifting starts Thursday, but anyways,
no,
we're
it
gonna
starts
be
Friday.
there.
Yeah, my
before
car
Friday.
actually lands in Grid Life on Thursday.
Oh,
Yep, and I land
and
there
it
on
works?
Thursday.
Like
yeah.
you haven't driven it yet, obviously, but it runs in its own power.
Yep, runs and drives and goes through the gears and
And you dynoed it. You said it dynoed well.
Yep, dynoed extremely well. It just was over 700 horsepower. I don't need 1400. Dean, you sissy.
Well, you're also in Pro 2.
Yep. No, but
I mean, you're not really in Pro 2. You're kind of in Pro 2. Are you going to run Pro 2 rounds now?
I think I might run two. I think I might run.
If you
Once
don't-
again, so this whole process has kind of changed a little bit because so Jason, for you guys that don't know, Jason is the spotter for JTP, and he's been helping JTP all year, as well as working with tons of other Formula Drift drivers over the year. I've been really kind of listening to his strategy, and his was don't take the car out until it's tested and proven. And so he's like, take it out to Grid Life, go put laps on it, go drive it, go learn it. But you're going to need to do 3 or 4 more events in it to shake it down, work the bugs out, learn the car. And so
Well, that's the biggest problem with not every Pro 2 driver, obviously, but so many Pro 2 drivers, we see it in Pro-Am as well, is people overbuild cars that they don't test and they don't have seat time with. And it doesn't matter if it's a perfectly built, let's say the Get Nuts or Wardhouse team or RTR or any of these guys built the best drift car in the world. If you don't put down laps in it and you don't get to know the car, you're going to suck for the most part. There's some people that might get away with it, but most people will not get away with it, and you just need to spend seat time.
Right. And so I've been kind of really letting Jason take the helm with a strategy before we move forward on a lot of things. But you guys, you don't even want to know what we ran into in the past 2-3 weeks. And I see Megan in here.
I don't.
So Megan's in here. She's a big part of Portland Speed Industries, and I've been calling her literally every single day for the past 2-3 weeks, getting updates, giving updates, ordering parts. So when we first were starting this car 3 months ago, once again, it was waiting for the turbo, waiting for other major components to show up before we could start building. Obviously, without the turbo, we couldn't do the manifold. Without the turbo manifold.
Why were you starting the car 3 months ago? The drift season started 3 months ago.
Well, it was just one of those things. That's when I shipped it out to PSI.
I know, I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, but it was so there's a domino effect that plays a role when it comes to building a car, and so we get through the domino effect, and coincidentally, it ended up being, I would say, 2-3 weeks ago.
Domino's effect, is that when you eat too many pizzas?
And you stop working on things because you can just go into a food coma. It gets to a point where I talk to Jason on the phone. Jason's like, hey, man, we're about 70-30 on getting you to grid life. 70% will get you there. 30% is if any hiccups come in. And, so we're good odds right now. And this was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Every 2-3 days, dude, hey, we're flip-flop now. We're 70%, we're not going to make it. 30% we will. Things are not matching up. Things are not going right. And I'd get a call back the next day. Hey, whoa, we figured it out. We scrambled parts. Because at this point, it's like everything. We got to the point where we were next day airing literally everything so we can start the next job.
But you order part from China?
What's that?
You ordered parts from China?
Yeah, I ordered everything from Shanghai.
Overnighted from Shanghai.
No, but it got to a point, literally, everything was just rushed and done. But it's done right. Once again, they did 2.5 hours on the dyno. Mark Panic, he is a phenomenal guy. This is how close it was. So in Jersey, right, this past round, Jason flew out, I want to say it was Wednesday night. Jason flew out at 11 p.m. My car wasn't tuned yet. So Mark Panic, he did my engine harness. He told Jason that he would go to the shop Wednesday midday to help tune the car for Jason. So Jason remote tuned the car from Formula Drift, New Jersey with Mark Panic manning and running the car on the dyno. Like, these were all things that needed to get done because the car shipped Thursday morning. So all this had to be done before the car shipped. So everybody put in way too much overtime, and they freaking did it. And they said it's totally drivable. Everything is perfect. Go out there and drive. There's some things that we still need to change on the car. Like we need to rechange the rear end again in it, but it's fine to get us through, just depending on how I drive it. So they said the car's totally good. It's about 70% there. There's obviously much more room for improvement, but they said let's just go drive and have some fun in it, and that was the goal.
Actually, Megan from PSI is saying that overnight parts from Canada.
Yeah, a bunch of parts from Canada. Yeah, I don't even know, man. Like, I am so blown away by it.
Well, I mean, you gotta have your maiden voyage.
Set sail in grid life.
Grid life.
Yeah, so let's get talking about that. So, of course, we're gonna see and know all about the car at Grid Life. First of all, where are you pitting at Grid Life?
I'm gonna be pitting front row center. I guess I'll be right next to Hurt and Rob, and somebody else is gonna be on my other side. But we're gonna be in a pretty sweet spot. Keith Johnson.
Are you in the Nexen tent, or you at the?
No, we got our. So
tent?
Keith Johnson from America is driving out his big rig from North Carolina. So this is where we're at now. So Keith leaves on Wednesday night, and so I've been shipping even more parts to his shop, so he can throw them in his truck and trailer and drive to Michigan to meet us there with more parts. So Keith has almost a big rig. I guess it's like a 48-foot truck and trailer stacker that we're going to be pitting out of. So we'll have a big Motegi 10x20 up. Keith will be there in the big rig, and we'll have our own pit spot.
Oh, yeah. So let's talk about Grid Life. This is incredibly exciting. Paco and I have gone to every Grid Life now for... Not every Grid Life. I guess we've gone for the past year and a half. And Corey's been invited, but he never showed up. And this is the first time that all three of us, the Maximum Driftcast dudes, are going to be there.
Yay.
Paco and I are going to be announcing drifting with Papa Jared. and that's very exciting for us because pretty much pros at announcing now. Maybe I don't know, but all three of us are going to be there. That's incredibly exciting in its own right. Corey is going to have one Zima and blackout at night, so don't expect much partying from him.
Yeah.
But
White girl wasted.
But yeah, I'm so excited for Grid Life. It is. I've had so much fun at every Grid Life. Midwest last year was the best automotive event I've ever been to. Yeah, I can't talk it up enough. I'm so excited about Grid Life, and it's my birthday.
It was.
again. I'm gonna be spending my birthday at Grid Life on Saturday.
I'm just going to get you a pizza for your birthday, Sam. That's what you got me.
So
what did I get you? I didn't get you shit.
I know you didn't. You wasted time.
So here's it was Corey's birthday last weekend at Formula Drift.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then it's
I got him. I woke him up with my drone in the hotel room. That was fun.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Then
and
Sam's,
you left a big old Cleveland steamer in the toilet in our hotel room, which was a very nice.
while you
gift.
were feeding him chips in the toilet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did do that.
That was
And then Sam's birthday is at Grid Life.
Yep.
And then mine is at Irwindale.
Oh boy.
I thought so.
It's a perfect trifecta.
Yep.
And then my favorite Grid Life moment I do have to say was last year. I think Jared's got it going, but we were party bullying. We mentioned that multiple times on the show, but party bullying is where me and Paco and pretty much all the drifters and Jared, we would go from party to party.
Take
we would
over.
just drive around in golf carts, get kind of drunk.
Destroy their
show
campsite.
Show up to let's say like you got 3 of your friends and you guys are just like playing a nice game of beer pong, and then all of a sudden here comes 12 loud people. One of them might have a megaphone, and they show up to your campsite, demand if you have beer, and then demand that you stop playing your game and that we all play Flip Cup. And then like 50 more people join, and then we all scream, and then Turk loses because I'm much better than him, and then he flips the table over. And then
we go to the next campsite.
Party bully somewhere else, and that's party bullying. But anyways, it's amazing that you guys tolerate us. But Jared was like, "Hey, it's this guy's birthday," and then a bunch of strangers sung me "Happy Birthday" last year, and that was probably my favorite.
And even
birthday
Larry
moment.
Chen was documenting the party bowling.
Yeah.
So that's that. Yeah, it's definitely good time. So I've
heard rumors that this year they're going to try to control us a little bit more, contain us, keep us safer, I guess.
Gotta be wearing a leash.
Maybe they're going to be shuttling us. I don't know. I just heard that the party bullying might be a little bit different, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well,
but
tickets were sold out apparently, so it means
are they?
It's gonna be or I think it was just 10 tickets left or something like that. But they were saying like pretty much sold out, so go get your tickets if you don't have one.
I guess we don't even need to promote the show then if it's already sold out. I guess we can promote Atlanta. Go to Atlanta if Midwest is sold out for you. So we're going to be there doing it too. But we're going to be announcing the drifting portion. I'm not sure what we're doing. We're not announcing yet. We might just be doing some social media stuff for either Grid Life or just if we don't have Grid Life social media, we're going to be doing it for ourselves and just going around taking Instagram stories, being us. Corey is actually not going to be driving his car. I'm going to be driving his car. I'm pretty sure going to take his race suit, fill it full of cottage cheeses, and drive is my plan.
That's the right way of doing it.
Yeah.
Corey, can I drive your car if it works?
Yeah, for sure, Sam. You're more than welcome to.
All right, cool. I know good. I know good at driving.
You guys, we leave for
we
leave in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really bummed I haven't been home a lot lately. It kind of sucks. I've been home for like 48 hours and I'm gone for 5 days and home for 48 hours. I'm doing the same thing this week. I go do Snap-on stuff in Wisconsin afterwards, but oh well.
It's the nature of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we have 6 weeks off for Formula Drift, so I'm hoping after
finally.
this we have a little bit of downtime. My car will go to North Carolina with Keith after this, so I'm probably going to fly out to North Carolina at least once or twice in the next 6 weeks. So we'll
just
see
stay
what
there.
happens. I know.
All right, Grid Life. Go there, get a ticket if you don't have one. If you can get one, buy it from a scalper. I don't know. But Grid Life, we talked about that.
Waka Flocka Flame is going to be there, by the way.
Wacky Flocka Flame.
Waka.
A bunch of other musicians I've never heard of, but I'm sure the kids will like. Paco, you judged a pro event in Colorado.
That's right. Yeah, we talked a little bit briefly.
Oh, you did? Yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot you guys talked
but yeah,
about
all
that.
good. Like, it was fun. Obviously, our buddies from Southwest Drift, Vegas Drift, Nick Dizon, who's a team manager for Get Nuts, Forrest, invited me to be a judge, and it was awesome. It was a pretty cool, interesting experience. And we'll now that we're gonna have some free time in between this round and the upcoming round, we're gonna.
Are you judging them all?
No. I mean, I don't know if I'm judging the third round, which is gonna be here in Phoenix. So there's possibly a chance, but we're definitely gonna have the podium guys. One of these upcoming episodes, that we're gonna have this during our break between Formula Drift. But there's a lot of talent coming out from Southwest Drift. So definitely gonna Southwest.
I like how you say it like a pirate or like a old timey.
I was trying to say it like a salad.
Southwest Drift,
like a
Salad
sour,
West.
like Southwest salad way.
Cross that off the list. What else? I went to Hyperfest. That was cool.
You mean Wiperfest?
Yeah, it was because it was so rainy. But the one part I want to mention from that was really cool is I got to facilitate a chase car situation with Vaughn and Chelsea, and Robbie Nishida was driving a chase GTR, which was cool. So I rigged up my Canon 1DX Mark II with a super heavy duty rig on the hood of the Virginia International Speedway GTR, and Robbie shredded it. It was really cool. He did such an excellent job following Vaughn.
Yeah. Well, did you end up kissing him afterwards?
Yeah, Robbie and I held hands with Vaughn and Chelsea. It was a quadruple kiss. It was just a peck.
Nice.
It wasn't
just a
no
light
gay
one.
stuff. It's not that there's anything wrong with gay stuff if that's what you're into, but it was not gay
Yeah,
between
no,
us.
but
Just
you guys,
friends.
as of recently, you guys been kissing for when you guys have to give good jobs. You don't shake hands.
Yeah,
you don't
yeah,
high five.
yeah.
You just peck.
Because we're very good,
Yeah,
very good friends. We're kissing friends.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sam likes to kiss the boys, but like with eyes, just like like that. Yeah, yep.
I also wanted to mention that I went to the California DMV the other day to register Lydia, my STI.
Yep.
And it was the worst experience of my life. I was there for 6 hours.
Wow.
No,
That's not
even
bad.
joking. I showed up an hour before it opened, and there was a line of about 100 people out the door already. And then I just went through the system. And I went
California,
from
man.
like 4 different counters. I
I'm
got
so
multiple
glad he
different
moved there.
forms. I went from one counter to another counter and then back to the other one because the people were miscommunicating on which forms I needed. And this is literally just to get a California license and to register my STI here. And boy, it was the
What a
worst
waste
time
of
of my
time.
life. And I get to go back one more time in the next month to register my car, finish registering my car. So I just want to talk about that real quick because I've heard stories like all the comedians are like, oh, the California DMV is the worst. It is unimaginably worse than anyone could ever say.
That's what you get
Arizona
for leaving.
Arizona DMV is fantastic.
Arizona
I'll say that
DMV,
as
you can
well.
run into a supermarket and pay for your tags and leave. Literally.
Or if you actually have to go to the real one, like there was like 10 people at the counter helping you, and there was like 30 people getting helped. It was an incredible experience. At the time when I was like last time I was there when I was getting a new title for my car or whatever, I was like, oh no, I got to spend a half an hour at the DMV. Fuck, it was bad.
I'm not a big fan of Dane Cook, but he has a great bit.
Why does everyone hate on Dane Cook? He got so hated so fast.
I don't hate him, but I'm not a big fan. But he has a great number on the DMV. If you guys, whenever you're done with this episode,
Tell me some jokes from it, Paco, right
it
now. Let's hear it.
literally says like, so I went to the DMV,
Good Dane Cook
aka
impression, by the way.
Satan's asshole.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's very good. Just check it out.
No. Do the rest of it. Do the rest.
No,
of it.
I can't remember it. We're gonna get copyright striked for.
Okay, yeah,
Because
they're
it's
gonna think they're actually
impersonation.
Dane
It's so
Cook.
good. Yeah.
My Dane Cook impersonation is on point. Like I throw myself on the floor and like over exaggerate things. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Then finally, the only one other thing I wanted to mention on my end at least was Bro Down on Sunday. Was pretty cool.
Bro down.
We had Forrestberg and Turk were there. We had Kristaps there. We had
Fede?
Dirk. We had Fede. We had Farouk. We had Van Kirk. And I think
All the
that
heavy
was all for
hitters.
the Pro 1 guys. If I'm missing any, I'm sorry. But yeah, it was cool times. Like I said earlier with Dean, Forsberg figured out what was wrong with his car and fixed it. So he had his car. Turk's car wasn't. I think they're doing a clutch on it, so they couldn't drive that. But Turk hopped in with his other buddy, Hopquake. That's his name, I guess. East Coast guys probably know him from the East
Okay.
Coast Bash scene. But Turk drove the crap out of this VQ powered S13, which was pretty awesome. And I got to ride in Forsberg's pro car with Kristaps chasing us, which was pretty insane.
I'm
And
sure it's
I
scary.
stuck my camera out the window as Kristaps is like trying to bang doors with us essentially, and Kristaps gave me a big middle finger. It was pretty awesome.
Nice.
But you're gonna see that in the blackout video coming from RS in a few days here.
Perfect.
I think that's it for me.
Yep.
I don't know.
I
That's
have
all I got.
two quick things real quick before we go. So, first one, we have a giveaway. And this
Yes.
giveaway is for the Patreons. So the way this works is like if you're a Patreon, and then we're gonna be starting doing this more and more oftenly. So here's the deal.
We've been kind of neglecting our Patreons lately, and we
Yeah.
haven't gotten any new ones because you guys want to see our show fail. But
So here's how it works. If you're a Patreon, you give us $1, you get one entry, and every giveaway we do. If you give us $2, you get 2 entries. If you give us $5, you have 5 entries. So
you get a naked calendar from Paco.
exactly. So right now we have pretty much 141 entries, and this means like we use a randomizer, and using the number that
The randomizer of Dean Kearney.
exactly that's a randomizer. No, I mean,
Yeah, I guess
the
that was pretty
randomizer.
random.
The randomizer is to give the numbers to the Patreons.
Yeah.
So because that way, like a number 1 patron who's giving us $5, he doesn't get number 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 5.
Yeah.
So they're all randomized. So by picking up number 43 from Dean Kearney, we have the winner for an AM filter. An AM induction filter. And we also
Is it
gonna
signed by us or a pro?
I believe. Let me see if this one is signed by. Maybe signed by Forsberg, and if not, we'll sign it.
No, we got something else to add into
We'll
it.
sign Forsberg's
Right here.
name on it.
Right here, we all see this.
Okay, we're gonna add some more stuff.
We got this.
Don't give him the bass flute.
Okay, not the bass flute, but okay, we're gonna add.
Is this the one? Is this the one?
Maybe. Yeah, there you go. Okay, Corey, put it on the camera.
This limited edition AM flag
Oh,
signed
sick, dude.
by
Forsberg.
Forsberg, Sam Drift Idiot Dickhead, Paco Banana, and Cordy Horsefard.
And fun story, all 3 of us were naked, covered in that thing
Pretty
at
much.
one point.
Yeah,
all 4 of us,
there's-
actually.
It has our DNA on it.
Yeah, it's covered in
Yeah.
Paco's DNA.
And I'm gonna add a keychain and a spaghetti koozie as
Wow.
So
Hey-
wait, do you know who won it yet?
well. Yep. And
Number
it's
43, who is it?
Number 43, and that is
Dun, dun, dun,
dun, dun,
dun.
dun, dun, Mike Gernhardt from
Hey!
Aurora, Oregon.
Oh,
Congratulations,
Hey,
Mike.
Oregon, give it up to
I
Oregon.
don't think I've seen Mike
Portland
in the chat
Speed.
today, but we'll email. Are we going to email Mike, or does he have to email us?
I'll send you the details, but Mike has been with us
Hold on,
since
Paco.
almost day one.
What a
Paco, is there a
legend.
ghost next to you?
That I don't want to look. I don't want to look. It's
Sam,
scary.
Oh my God, that's spooky.
You're gonna be a great life in a few days.
This is so terrible.
You're going to have bowel problems and Benjamin.
Wow.
Ghost of drifting future.
Yeah, the ghost of the drifting past.
All right.
Paco
cool. I
will
mean,
be with you.
I don't know how someone's
Ghost.
not supposed to have bowel problems after butt chugging 30 White Claws in 24 hours, but
I can't
guess
wait.
we'll see.
So yeah, that was one thing. So congrats, Mike Gernhardt.
Congrats, Mike. We'll get a hold of you. You get
Yeah.
a hold of us, whatever. You won some stuff. And imagine how often are we going to be doing this?
For now, we're gonna be trying to.
We're picking it up. Hal.
Yeah. We're gonna try
Good
to do it
idea.
as often as
We've been-
possible.
We got necks and tires on the way. We got
We've been
more
neglecting our
giveaways.
Patreon, so we need to do more for them, obviously, because they've been, like you said, Mike's been giving
Right.
us some money to support the show from the start.
Right.
And,
Well, Mike is the
we
very
honestly
few
probably
why
would have
we're
quit
still
by
alive.
now if we had to pay completely out of pocket. So
Oh,
Mike-
well, there's no way we'd be able to do anything without the
Mike-
small amount of Patreon.
Mike
we
is a
have.
$2 patron, but has been doing it for quite a while. So I mean, congratulations, Mike. We really appreciate your
thanks.
contributions to the show. And
I think that means that he's paid us over $7,000.
Whoa!
pretty much it's like $75,000 so far.
I'm
yeah.
not so good at math.
Yeah, and here's the thing: next draw, next giveaway, he still has 2 entries. So it's not like if you won once.
right.
It's
No, you still have 2
you can-
entries for the next one. You
so
still
this
won
is
again.
for every Patreon, which we gotta put the link, but it's just patreon.com.
I'm gonna put that in our
Yeah,
chat here.
patreon.com/Maximum Driftcast. If you go there,
And
you
you said-
join. You can do
you said
$1.
future ones we're gonna give away. Maybe some Motegi racing wheels, maybe some Nexon tires, maybe who
Yeah,
knows?
I know Nexon said that they were gonna be able to.
Yeah, RS4s, some real deal tires,
Real-
18-inch, full soft compound SUR4.
Dude, I
and
need
fair
I need
tires.
some new tires for my car. So
Well,
I-
maybe
Shut
you
up,
should
Sam.
become a Patreon, Sam.
Should I become a Patreon?
So, Motegi, I know there was a mention at some time. They're interested, so
We
probably
actually
gonna have
we did a
giveaway.
wheel giveaway. That was more of just a sporadic wheel giveaway, but we'll have a more planned giveaway, which is going to be through Patreon and through Motegi and ourselves to get you guys on some sweet wheels.
Maybe we should give away some stuff for the next. I know it's too late for this Grid Life, but maybe the next Grid Life we should do that too. We could do like a come to our booth sort of deal. I don't know why I'm talking about this on the show. It doesn't matter. Whatever.
All good. And the other thing, I have to thank my buddy Corey Grove from Veloce Apparel. He sent me the T-shirt that I was talking about the last time.
Mine's covered in cat hair, but it's sitting on my desk right here.
Oh, you did? You got yours too?
Yeah, it's covered, my cat was sitting on it, but
There you go. Oh,
Look, I like Paco's better. It says GT wing or chicken wing.
so Sam got the Veloci shirt, but look
wait,
at
what's
mine.
yours say?
Okay, no, we got the Veloci shirts as well, but
I didn't
why
get
is
that
yours
one.
different?
I got the one that
Yeah, it's not
says
fair. I'm not getting another
"Who
shirt.
did it better."
Very good.
Yeah, I'm not buying another
Wait, is
one
that
of the
based
shirts.
off of our joke from the chicken wing?
Which was that joke?
We talked about a car that was wrapped to look exactly like a chicken wing.
Yeah.
With who was that? I don't remember at this point.
Sam?
Was it maybe? Sam, are you gonna?
Yep, Sam's gonna file some paperwork. It's all right, Sam.
Well,
Well-
I just love it. It's like who did
Yeah,
it better?
I-
Chicken wing
maybe
or
it was
chicken
just
wing?
an in-person chat. Maybe it wasn't on the show, but we're talking about if a car, because cars are kind of shaped like chicken wings. If the car just
Absolutely.
got a full chicken wing wrap, so it just looks like a perfect chicken wing.
Interesting. Well, if you want to get yourself a pretty cool shirt like this, they have more of the stuff. So just go to Veloce. How's the regular slash? That's not slash, right?
It goes buytheirshirts.com. They gave Paco a shirt.
VelociLTD.com.
Also, Paco, if
Yes.
you wanna help Paco keep his citizenship, what you want to do is go to Meatspin.
And
Bitspin.com. Every
And
spin.
you'll know what I'm talking about when you get there, but you're gonna have to watch 3,000 spins.
Yeah.
Every
That sounds a
spin-
lot.
every spin I
And
get
you'll
a
know
cent.
if you're not watching, so you're gonna have to watch every spin. So please, if you want Paco to stay in America, you're gonna have to do 3,000 spins.
Thank you.
All right, are we done? Anything else?
Yep.
I
No.
think that's it.
McLeod.
Cool.
We have to thank our sponsor. So thanks, McLeod Clutches, Nexon Tire,
Motegi
Nexon
Racing.
Tire,
Motegi Racing.
AM
Oh, by the way,
intake,
Nexon
and,
Tire
Nexon and
gave me this
Motegi Racing.
sweet ass hat. Look at this.
That's sweet. Oh yeah, we also it was a good time with
And Farrah
with Paul.
Club
Yep.
hat. This is
And,
pretty cool stuff.
Guy gave Corey a very special birthday gift, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Took it all too in one time.
Double. Wait, what does DPLS mean? Double
Penetration,
penetrated line.
later salad.
All right, cool.
Got it. And obviously
All right.
AEM intakes. Thank you. And
Yep.
again, Patreon, you guys rule. Is because of you guys that we are able to do this podcast and buy hentai.
All right, real quick. I forget if did I tell you guys in the podcast that my car, my WRX hydrolocked on the freeway because I had a cold air intake.
No,
And it sucked up water and I killed my motor.
that's it.
AEM turned around real fast and sent me a short ram intake, which I now have in my car. And I drove in the rain the other day. Didn't suck up water.
Well,
Also, it
so
looks cool.
I thought he hydrolocked.
No, it was all we had to do was replace the spark plugs and let the water drain out.
Oh, okay. So it didn't. Okay, that's good. Nice. You got lucky
Yeah,
because
I did get
sometimes they
lucky,
just
actually.
like bend the crank rods and stuff. So
Yeah, but I
Nice.
got a sweet AM intake on it right now.
awesome.
Yep. Anyways, that's it.
That's it for the show. Find Corey
Check
and
us out at
at
Grid Life.
gridlife
Grid-
dot
Get to Grid Life.
granddad gridlife that thing keeps
All right,
driving me
guys.
crazy.
We'll see you later.
So you guys have a good night and we'll see you next episode.
Ciao. Do I? I don't want to say ciao.
Adios.
Aloha.
Mm.
That could be hello and goodbye.
See